Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Welcome back for another Appendix N book club meeting. And welcome Justin and Tanner to the show.
Just in the nick
Uh,
of time.
hey,
I've been
there you go.
backstage for
Let
a
me
bit.
rearrange that because I don't like that. And I'm going to move here over there because,
We've all got our spot in the pecking order, you see.
well, yeah. He does the same for me on his show. And we've done so many shows together.
I'm taking the piss, don't worry.
Oh, I know. How you guys
Hey,
doing today?
I speak with this guy 6 days out of 7, and that's only because I put my boundaries in and said no Tuesdays. Okay.
We're doing really good. Weather is beautiful over here. We're going to have a roast and a cake for dinner tonight, which is pretty good. And we're about
Nice.
to discuss a massive influence on the Dungeons& and Dragons game.
I definitely noticed some very key elements. Only one's coming to mind right now because my brain is not working. But there
This
was
is
one key thing that I noticed. Maybe a couple more that I'll remember as we just go through the discussion. Now, Justin and I believe we both listened to the audiobook, right?
Mhm. I,
the
however, read this one.
yes. I,
So,
I
so
I wish I did, but I didn't find a EPUB version of it or whatever.
yeah, so part of my opinion is going to be highly clouded by the audio version, which I do not recommend. Just
Well,
saying,
No.
this is definitely a non-official audio version.
no, they really tried hard. I'll give them that, but they kind of messed it up for me. I don't know about you, Justin.
It was really monotone, but that's not what we're here for. We're not here for
Yeah,
the indie producers
yeah, because
production.
right off the bat, I know Tanner loved this book. Justin, what'd you think?
Believe it or not, I actually only. Actually, Justin first, sorry.
No, go. You were brought up first,
Yeah,
so
and you recommended this
I
book.
do think it's a good story. I do recommend it. However, it's not my favorite.
Okay.
Um, I and even the best stories in this series are ones that I like but don't exactly love. I honestly consider the next story, The Mathematics of Magic, to be easily the best of the bunch. Castle of Iron, a lot of people love. I'm not as crazy about it, but I do like the fourth and fifth story. I don't really recommend the stuff that was made after Fletcher Pratt passed away, sadly, because they go from understanding magic to debunking magic, and they're a lot more sour in tone. Although they do get to kill L. Ron Hubbard, which is awesome.
hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. I would have never predicted that. And
Well,
Justin, what do you think of
yeah.
it?
Why would they want to kill L. Ron Hubbard first of all?
Okay, not trying to like eat up all your airtime. This is
No.
a bit of a rigmarole. So these stories, along with a lot of DeCamp's other
Hey,
stuff,
Raven.
the excellent hey Rave, the excellent Jack Williams what's it called there? Darker Than You Think, and a bunch of other and Fafhrd and Grey Mouser, which is very important to you. They all appeared in a magazine first called Unknown Worlds, originally unknown,
Yes.
where the idea was they were sort of filling the spot from Weird Tales, but to differentiate it from Weird Tales, John W. Campbell, the editor, also wrote the short story that would become the basis for the thing. Pretty much put out this recommendation to the writers, like, have werewolves, have vampires, but don't be cliche. Look at more like the logical side of it. Have the werewolf be chased by a really proficient dog catcher, for example. And so this is sort of the birth of hard comedic fantasy, if that makes sense. So one of the writers at this magazine was a little feller named L. Ron Hubbard before
Good
the whole
point.
Scientology debacle. And he decided, after reading the Harold Shea stories, that he could do it better. And so he wrote a story. I can look up what the title is later, um, where a guy gets whisked to another dimension, a fantasy world, and it's mentioned offhand that there was this one dude who is very clearly meant to be Harold Shea, um, got teleported in and was immediately killed and eaten by a giant snake.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, and it's kind of if you're an author, you
No,
really
no,
don't want to like try and
that's
one up.
very
Yeah.
common in the literary community. Like
Yes,
that
a little
that's
bit too common.
no, but most people just laugh at it and do the same back,
Well,
but
back in the
not the
40s, it was a
author.
bit more serious, and people
Uh,
actually really took Hubbard to task for that one. And go figure,
okay.
for decades, this was the biggest controversy with him. But later on,
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, like this story needed like two revisions, especially the beginning third.
The very first chapter, if you will, almost noped
Yeah,
me out.
yeah. As if I
I
picked this up in the store, I would have read the first page like most people do after reading the back and put it back on the shelf and said, "No, thank you."
Yeah,
I'd say the mathematics was better.
yeah, it has had to be. Um, the book grew on me, and I forced myself to go through it.
Hmm.
But the first section on them talking about how the theory of teleporting to other places, um, I, wow, it was
It,
hard.
it
It was
was rambly, nonsensical. It jumps from my buddy told me this idea he had to practical use without study whatsoever, which is reasonable for a portal fantasy. But you could do 150 other things to teleport a person to a parallel world. Then I heard about something, so I'm a master of it with
yeah.
first
I'm
thought.
going to do math in my head and get there.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like
Admittedly, this is Harold being, a little bit cocky, and then the story is him pretty much getting clapbacked for it.
Yes, but still, it's
Part Go figure. It's actually the middle portion I'm not as crazy about in this one because while I wouldn't exactly call this a humiliation um Congo, what's that thing we're gonna yeah, don't worry about it. Um yeah, it might be Conga. Um and I'm not gonna call the story mean spirited. A lot of what goes down tends to be more watching this guy just get, just dragged along and
sure.
beaten up and stuff like that, as opposed to something that's much genuinely funny. The third part of the story, on the other hand, is pretty much where it pretty much becomes the classic. Hold on a sec,
Fetch
please.
quest,
what? Repeat
fetch
that.
quest,
Fetch
fetch
quest.
quest, where they have to go get the four things, the four weapons.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
thinking
but
more like him being thrown around and vomiting and like being dragged through the snow and like almost
Mm.
squashed by Thor.
yeah, um, yeah. That's
It wasn't all that different from poor Bilbo's introduction to adventuring. To be,
yeah.
Bill at
it
least gets a
wasn't
bit
that
of a
bad.
transition.
You know, the Disney, not well, maybe the Disney Sword and Stone kind of
Uh,
thing.
yeah. That was a book series first, but
But yeah, but that's
Gave way to think.
what most
what?
people are familiar with, and it summed it up in about this. A little bit. It took a little bit longer, but uh, it eventually grew on me. But man, that first chapter was just like,
For those listening at home wondering what's going on here, so the long and short of the story is it's about a psychologist back in 41 named Harold Shea. He's dating a girl named Gretchen Muller, I think her name is. Actually, I'm gonna
Yeah,
double check. I wrote that down.
the best character in the story.
Yeah, actually, we should
no,
probably do the best character, but
we will,
I'm
we
joking
will.
because we don't like
Gertrude
actually
Mugler. Sorry.
we don't
She's
actually hear from her except for until the very end.
Well, we do
Uh,
hear from her at the start, but and
yeah,
it's her
but like,
telling her that the date tonight will be Dutch. So obviously, you can
yeah,
see this is not exactly a perfect relationship. Um, but yeah,
uh,
it
Well,
starts
it
with
is for the guy.
yeah.
oh no, no, that it is not. He is not happy with this relationship at all.
Well, no, I mean,
Well, he's unhappy with the humiliation of her being so frank about it, but
hmm
yeah,
Yeah, we see in the second story that his taste definitely goes a different direction women wise, but he after that humiliation, he kind of shoots a shift with two of his buddies, and one of them brings up what you were talking about earlier, where they're trying to discover the science of paraphysics, and anyone who's read the Blue Star can see Fletcher Pratt trying to do fantasy physics very badly again, where it's like the way we perceive the world around us, sight, scent, taste, whatever.
Mm.
If you were on a different world, these senses would be very different. So you could theoretically attune your mind and hop dimensions.
Yeah.
No, just fucking no.
Yeah, even
Just,
even in the interest of this, agreed. Yeah, that's you need a bit more than just thinking differently to hop
and it
dimensions.
reminded me of a whole bunch of things that I freaking despise. Even in the Guns of Amber,
Yeah.
the whole idea that gunpowder doesn't work. I hate that. Uh,
I get the different materials work different ways, but the attuning your mind thing really strikes me as the things that lifestyle drug users say. You know,
Yeah,
like
and the fact that they're getting this from paranoid schizophrenics is probably unsound ground.
mhm,
yeah,
yeah.
but you know what I mean. Like I feel like I'm in touch with God because I did some mushrooms or whatever. That kind of like attitude.
Retardation.
You're in
Yeah.
touch with Satan, maybe.
No,
Right.
well, you're crushing brain cells. That's why you see funny colors. It's not a
Hmm,
spiritual thing at all.
yeah, there's nothing good about turning your brain to mush.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Something that I hope is
Remember
not.
that, Raven.
Yeah,
Hey,
don't let those kids
I
stay in
wasn't pointing
school.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And cat spray counts as drugs.
let's do it. Favorite character.
Um,
Ingvi was a louse.
Maybe it was a louse. Maybe. I like the cockroach. I think he was the best one.
The one that gets
Uh,
Was it?
eaten by Skeeter near the giant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what was his
that was a
name?
wonderful.
Uh,
Skymir. He's the first giant they run into,
Yeah, that
and
that was my favorite character. I really
yeah.
mostly, uh, believe it or not, because of the way it was narrated, I really got into or at least appreciated, enjoyed the accents that he gave, the way he spoke. Uh,
Yeah, a good narrator will pitch.
yeah,
These were
yeah.
good narrators, but a
Kind
good
of like the
narrator
way
will
you do,
pitch.
Tanner, when you do the wormy stuff on Bubba's show. You really do that really well, and this guy also did it very well. Maybe we'll send you the link if you don't already have it. You can listen
It's
to
in
the audio,
the
uh,
Discord thing.
see what you think. That was my favorite character. I really didn't care for the protagonist much, just because I've seen that character in.
He's a fop, right? He's
Yeah.
like I've seen better fops
Right
than
now, the
him.
character from Cave Girl was more fun, and he was absolutely, like a mirror image of Ichabod Crane, Harry Potter, all those guys rolled into one before it had been
a
done.
pencil neck. I getcha. Funny thing
Yeah,
is that I was kind of imagining sort of a then modern Ichabod Crane for Harold Shea in my head, because they mentioned he's a bit tall, a bit thin, his eyes are too close together.
yep.
Uh, did they say his eyes were too close together,
Um,
or
Double
did
checking the story, but I
did
do know they mentioned his eyes once or twice. And when he's talking to Snog the troll, he
he?
mentions,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah.
some people said
He
my
says a
eyes are too close."
girl didn't like him, but I thought he was just putting that on as
Polo coat, extra
Could be,
fuzzy.
could be. I can see it either way as
Here
yeah.
we
the
go.
the author trying to describe him without describing himself.
Here we go. Dark, a trifle taller, a little thinner than average. He would have been handsome if his nose was shorter and his eyes were farther apart. So yes, it is canonical that his eyes are a bit
Okay.
too close together.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he does say that something about his eyes. Maybe he said they were too far apart, and he did something to bring them closer together. Because he was convincing
The troll.
the troll with the big nose that he could melt it, and then he did melt it, just by
Well, spoil it, hoser.
remembering concepts of magic. And then he complained that he should have not brought the lighter in the Boy Scout handbook instead of brushing up on actual concepts of magic before leaving.
Now I'll be
Which
right back. Just gotta grab something real quick.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember parts of the story
mhm. Yeah,
because I was doing other stuff at the same time,
yeah,
as I normally
I
am
was too, but
occupied.
I actually managed to get most of the story in today at 1.75 times speed, which was such a relief. God, I don't know
Oh
about
no!
the narrators.
I put it on 2 times speed, and it was like listening to it at quarter speed compared to normal stuff.
Yeah, it was rough, folks. It really was. But like I said, it did grow on me
Mhm.
after a bit. Um,
Well, that's the thing. Like good narration, you learn to forget the narrator's there and just absorb the
which
story.
this was not possible.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah,
they had they had like 6 or 8 different narrators for it, including a woman for his inner monologue, which drove me insane. Uh,
yeah.
that was just like you've got a handful of people.
Just
What?
pick one to read the whole thing, which they should have done instead of trying to do a cast. This did not need a cast.
Yeah,
Even if it was just the woman reading the whole thing consistently,
would have.
like
Yeah.
would have been fine. The thing that really pissed me off was for the first 5 parts, the 3 minute long introduction and recap of the previous
Oh,
part, and then
I
after
didn't
that,
mind the recaps so much because it kept me on track because I was losing like where's this going, after a
yeah,
while. But it was the mentioning of all the cast by first name only. Like we're
yes,
supposed to know who these people are. If you're not going to actually give them the full credit, so we can go look up
yeah.
who they're talking about. Why do
Yeah.
we care?
Well, it's they're just people that are associated with the YouTube channel, right?
Yeah,
So
I think they thought this channel of theirs was going to go farther than it did. Maybe it's really still new. I didn't look
yeah.
into it,
Well,
but it seemed like
this was uploaded 3 years ago.
okay.
Uh,
So yeah, it definitely could have gone farther in that time, but maybe not. I don't know. It
well,
just seemed like a
this
lot
sh-
of work for
this shouldn't have been 7 parts for one.
yeah.
And like if they'd done the whole thing as one part with a little more editing, and then just put all the cast people at the beginning or end,
Hmm.
preferably the end, it wouldn't have
Like,
been that big of a deal.
even my own copy in the book, it's only about 112 pages, so you could have easily uploaded that in a 3 or 4 hour file and just.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Like they're about 43 minutes each. 47, I think, is the longest.
I thought it was 49, but yeah. Either way,
It doesn't matter.
you could have done it in 4.5 hours. Uh, cut out, you know, dozens of minutes with the intros and the recaps,
Mhm.
etc. So, did you guys have a least favorite character?
Uh, what was the main character's name again? Howard?
Harold?
Harold?
Which
Harold.
I'm gonna call him Howard. Um,
Disrespect.
uh, yeah, I did not like this character.
how about you, Tanner?
Not least favorite as such, but the way that Thor was written in this, I kind of wish someone would have given him a kick in the hiney.
Yeah, that's weird, dude. Me too. He was my least favorite character. I know
Like,
we're all supposed to love Thor, blah blah blah. Like this guy's an ass.
I should
You know,
mention,
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
should
yes.
mention, this is not like the Marv. Actually, you obviously know this, but this is obviously like years before like the Marvel comics. This is years
oh yeah,
before.
decades.
So he's going for like the mythic characters, or at least how they were understood back then. So you've got angry, short-tempered, red-haired Thor. You've got properly tricksy Loki, who's a fire giant, not an ice giant. Odin's nice and menacing. Heimdall's a blonde guy again. Um, And the
Yeah.
entire story is sort of a parody of a myth where and go figure, this will also show Thor's a bit of a dick, a bit of a hammer, if you would, where Thor and Loki are there to get his hammer back from Utgard Loki, no relation. That confused people for ages. He kills the goats, which regenerate every morning, so they can eat. One of the kids, however, drinks the marrow from one of the bones, so the goat is lame until he can get a replacement bone. And Thor almost squashes the kids until Loki pokes his head over and says, "You could try indentured servitude instead." Yeah, Mythic
Yeah,
Thor was not always a very pleasant dude.
yeah, he was just a douche. You
Hmm.
know,
No, it's just the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
well,
normal. Hey, man, the kid got off lucky. If you drank the marrow of my goat's leg, I would squash you.
Yeah, and I mean,
it was,
Thor does still kill, the Midgard serpent at the end, but it's like you people tend to forget, mythology was made ages and ages ago. Like the
yeah,
heroes are not always going to be heroic in our eyes.
yeah.
But
So, like for me, one of the reasons we do this is to learn why it was in the appendix, and it
and there's
wasn't it?
lots of good. Oh, absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
In fact, in
just
fact,
wanted to make sure.
it's not
Um,
just in the Appendix N. Even as far back as OD&D, Gygax mentions the Decamp and Pratt fantasies,
okay,
and I think they're mentioned elsewhere by the guy as well. So they
okay.
were
Uh,
as influential to him as Barsoom and Fafhrd and Conan.
this is one of the ones that are named by name in
The
the decamp.
paragraphs.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah. When you go to the actual list, it's not just the author's name. It's like the
I thought also at the end of the list there's some text down below where they specifically talk a little bit more about some of the things that inspired them.
yeah.
hmm
Yes. Well, like in the document, I just reposted the appendix and document before the show in the thing
Mhm.
where I've gone through and listed all the ones that were like pretty much every book that was by those authors that aren't specified. Like
hmm
so, if you noticed the document you were looking at it earlier, I believe Tanner.
hmm
Um, in the main thing, the reason why it's so much longer than in the actual book is because I listed pretty much every book I could find by the authors that are just the name of that author before 77.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so
Justin
that's
always
why.
does a lot of the heavy lifting around here because my brain is turning too much, and
Yeah,
I need to stop trying to spin so damn many plates. One
but
of the things I do.
somebody, I'm gonna have to say this. Somebody has to do the heavy lifting today because I cannot find anything free out there
Oh,
for any of
I'm
the
sorry. You should have
authors.
asked me. I would have linked you the Internet Archive for Unknown Number 3, where this debuted.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I
I
can
saw
tell you,
you.
Heimdall blowing the trumpet in the opening art, much better hook than three guys discussing something that's not going to work.
Yeah,
Yeah, it literally it came across as if they had been smoking weed, coming up with the idea. It was just
Well,
like,
I mean, LSD was cooked up in a lab by accident, so maybe they're cooking it up in a
uh,
lab and they don't know.
yeah, I guess. No, LSD sat on a shelf in Germany for 60 years before people had any idea what it did. It was a patent seized at the end of World War One.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
so one of the things I noticed that was taken from this and thrown into D&D was the chlorine gas of the first dragon.
The Green Dragon, yeah.
Yeah.
Like where did they come up with that? I'd always wondered, where did they come up with green dragons? Well, they don't breathe fire here, even though throughout all of history and mythology, dragons were green and they all breathed fire. And so here we get the origin of why green dragons breathe a chlorine gas, instead of just
Well,
good old fashioned fire.
you don't know that. They might have. These two might have gotten that from somewhere else.
Well, yeah. But the
Possible.
earliest, research we've come across, this is,
I don't think reading a, a pulp fiction novel counts as research, there, bro.
well, I've looked
But for
elsewhere.
this, absolutely it does.
I've looked elsewhere, and I couldn't find anything. I never understood why that was the case,
That's the
and
sort of unknown sort of scientific take on fantasy. Like creatures can't really store fire in their gullets, but what's something that can ignite and is dangerous to humans? Oh right, chlorine gas.
Yeah.
which also reminded me of that episode of Land of the Lost. Do you remember that one
Oh,
where one of the dinosaurs was doing something, eating something, and it basically allowed it to kind of breathe fire, and Will Marshall surmised that that's where the legends of fire-breathing dragons came from, was dinosaurs eating something that fermented or what have you in their bellies, and then
I
It
know
must have.
the book, The Flight of Dragons, and this got weaved into the Wonderful Rankin Bass movie. They also do a thing where dragons will eat these limestone and granite and these special materials. They've got a craw which humans don't have, and they've got a special tooth called Thor's thimble. And with this gas, they can lift and fly, or they can breathe fire with it. But the gas will use the same material.
okay.
Like
I love that
hydrogen.
stuff. Yeah,
Makes
they effectively
hydrogen.
make hydrogen. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that stupid? Uh,
Murder hobo.
yeah. What was that stupid movie with Christian Bale? Was it Christian
Oh, I know
Bale?
which one you're talking about. Wait,
Uh,
was it Christian Bale?
Are you referring to Reign of Fire or you're referring to Dragonheart?
Rain of Fire.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking Dragonheart.
Was that Christian Bale or was it
I think it
Matthew
was that other
McConaughey?
guy. That was that other weird guy.
Matthew McConaughey, I think.
I'm
No,
looking up. It is. Oh, you're both right. Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale are in Reign of Fire.
Rain of Fire.
I was thinking of another movie with another guy who was in, like, I want to say Lost, but I know it wasn't Lost. But he was like a big in a TV show, and then they put him in a movie, how the dragons were coming back to life and destroying the world,
Yeah.
and then he
Rain.
disappeared after that. The other thing I noticed was the descriptions of the giants with the hill and the frost and the fire.
Yep.
I'd never thought about it much. Why there were hill giants per se. Yeah, didn't they all like live in the mountains type of thing? Um,
Or on Beanstalks.
right, on clouds, and I guess that phrase stuck with them, or at least it seems to have stuck with Gygax to the point where he's like, "Well, I want a bunch of different giants. Oh, let's go, hill,
Hmm.
mountain, frost, stone."
Part of me also wonders if the Skymir may have had an influence on the is it the cave giant or the stone giant? Because outside of his bone hair, um, he's mentioned having this a cape that's made from uh, either the mother of all bears or like the king of all bears.
Mhm.
Implant not like an actual bear, but like just a big fancy cloak. And I remembered the David A. Trampier art of the cave giant, and that one's got a wearing bear furs.
Hmm.
Could be.
So he got 4 for 3 on that one, which is pretty nice. Yep, it is stone giant. Pardon.
Yeah.
Were
Also,
there?
like I'm kind of amused, not an Appendix N thing, but I'm sort of amused by the same way that Tolkien had his trolls talk with a "Oi, mutton today, mutton yesterday" sort of accent, and so here
Mm,
the giants
Yeah.
speak a bit like 40s gangsters. Yeah, yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Which I think is right and proper to
Right
to
proper.
Mhm.
to give them a dialect of their own, even if you have to swipe it from someone else, just so that when the readers are reading it, they can imagine uh, the sound of the words more.
Yeah. Usually you want to write. I didn't really notice in this, but you want to write not in accent but in syntax. So the word choice and not like distorting a word to make it sound like he's Cockney or whatever.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, or even
yeah.
something like having him say typing the dialogue, properly, and then in brackets going, but with this thick and heavy accent, it came across closer
No,
to,
no, don't
and then you do the
don't do that.
exaggerated.
Don't do that. That
Well,
is
not for all
very
of them,
bad
just
writing.
for yes.
No, you take idioms and word construction, like the way like regions structure sentences differently, and you use that.
What about misspelling
No,
or
never
spelling
do that. Never do that.
That's very
like
annoying on the
it's like
page.
spelling it phonetically?
No, never do that
Why not?
I'm
because it's
He's the
bad.
writer, I'm the reader. Yeah, it's very annoying when you like it makes your brain do like a mental tick when you do that. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Something else that's very Appendix N that I should point out too uh, is the betrayal of the Norse gods here, Hela, Odin, who's never actually spelled Odin. It's Odinn or Wotan or Voltan, which is kind of a. It's easy
Yeah.
to forget that these names didn't have big air quotes proper spellings for the longest time. But Frey, Thor, they're pretty much maybe not verbatim, but these are absolutely the deities as presented in the deities and demigods.
Hmm.
Like you can definitely see the artwork for Loki as the Loki in this one, archdice and all. Um, I'm pretty sure Odin may have used a psychic power on Harold when they met for the first time, and Harold doesn't realize that he's bugging Odin at first.
Or at least an illusion, which I noticed there was a lot of illusionary magic in here,
Mhm.
which
Lots of magic items, tons of them.
Hmm.
was kind of interesting considering we had just discussed the original illusionist in Bubba's show last episode.
Mhm.
Uh, how and why they would actually go to the lengths to make an illusionist as a character when when most of us think about it, it's all once they're like one trick ponies. Once you figure out the trick, all their stuff is useless.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you look at a lot of these older stories, all these comics, all these, you'll see magic was not always, summoning creatures or throwing fireballs. A lot of it was messing with someone's mind like that.
Hmm.
Sure.
Um,
And that's why Loki is always defined as both a trickster and a great magic user
mhm.
because that's how he does his tricks through magic.
It's the ash spider's bread and butter. Yeah. Um, you guys were not in love with the world hopping aspect of this at all. Yet I would like to point out that Gygax like to go on, and even in other games away from TSR. About like planar travel and hopping from place to place, and
Um,
I don't mind it in context of its own world, but
yeah,
the going from specifically Earth to a fantasy world just seems like kind of I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean we're
I,
already doing that playing D&D, right?
Right.
I, I,
That's kind of the thing.
I don't have a problem with it if it's low key and like it's not just happening every other week or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, or it's something fantastic, but my specific problem is not that he teleports to another world. I don't have a problem with portal fantasy. It's not my favorite genre, but I don't have a problem with it. It's specifically the the method and the stupidity of it. Like the method. Okay, yeah, okay, maybe you could come up with a mathematical theory and then implement it some way. But the fact that he's like, I heard of a method, now I've mastered it without even trying to, or it's
Yeah,
like,
without some experimentation gets it right on the first time.
That is a key
Uh,
flaw of 40 sci-fi and sort of the modernist mindset, where if you can put your mind to it, you can do it. Not
yeah,
that I'm
Yes.
particularly a fan of the postmodern mindset, which says meaning is irrelevant and nuts to you. You know, it's
Yes.
like
Well, I have no problem with the you put your mind to it, you can do it, but
I don't got a problem with it either.
it's
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 just I'm
it's
trying to agree with you here. It's very silly.
it's just like I didn't
too
even
easy.
like do any research. I just kind of I read the title of the article. I know exactly what it's about mentality.
And that is what I was referring to. Sort of the
Yeah.
um something else that's on a happier note, something else that was very appendix that I noticed, although this might be a bit of a stretch. We all know that the troll, or how it's presented, green, regenerate, stuff like that,
Sure.
that's from Three Hearts, Three Lions. However, I saw a little bit of the D&D troll in Snog here, which that name definitely got a different meaning over the years, much like the title of the second Planet Adventure there, The Servants of Wank. Because he's green, he's spindly, and instead of hair and a beard, he's got these little tentacly looking feelers. And he's got a big old nose, at least at the start, until Harold gives him a little plastic surgery. And I'm like reading this, and I'm like, wait a sec. Wait a
What
sec.
say?
No, not that kind of wait a sec, you hoser. Stog might be Jewish. I don't know. There are Jewish characters later in the series, so maybe, but um I meant more like it's not a dead ringer, but you're definitely seeing sort of the physical description getting weaved into the tapestry here. And speaking of Snog, I should finally get on to what the whole Ingvi is a louse thing is. Although we're jumping out of the Appendix N section, I think, unless I've missed anything.
Now go for
Yeah.
it.
So, Ingvi is a louse. Why am I so amused by this? What does this mean? So, when Heimdall and Harold are locked in Surt's dungeon, um, there's this one prisoner who every hour on the hour, this is canonical, will slink over in his chains over to the grating, poke his head through and yell, "Ingvi was a louse!" Not was a louse, is a louse, sorry. And then, like, shuffle back, and an hour later do the exact same thing. And even by a month later in the magazines, fan mags and stuff, this was already being discussed and shared around as an in-joke. People were, like, wondering, who in the world is Ingvi? What's going on here? And I think even in like Worldcon 2012, there was sort of this debate as to whether or not Ingvi is or is not any longer a louse.
It's probably just something funny one of them said, and they threw it
Could
in the
be.
book.
Kind of. The name actually, this name here, YNGVI, it's actually appeared in numerous Norse texts, and it can refer to either the legendary ancestors of the Ingvenius people, as Ingwi or Ingvaz, or Ingvi could also be a earlier name for Frey or Freya, who also appears in the story. So it's possible that before he lost his sword, Freya screwed a buddy over, and so now every hour on the hour, Ingvi is a louse.
Yeah.
And just to give the viewers a little example of how far this thing went, there's actually a 1973 Marvel comic, The Death Dealing Mannequin, by Kit Pearson and Tony Isabella, where a villain uses a variation of this phrase as an incantation.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm pretty
Uh,
sure, and on a final note, a little Appendix N linkage here. E.R. Edison used the name briefly in a poem in Mistress of Mistresses back in 35.
you do too much research.
Oh no, I do the right amount, sir. I care about this stuff, therefore I want to showcase how cool it is.
Yeah,
Or
we'll
maybe
go
I'm
with
the
that.
louse, I don't know.
Yes. I'm gonna go with you, the
No.
less.
Keep it coming.
Okay.
Uh,
Personally,
Oh.
this is Tanner's ego speaking here, because I gotta toss the puck back over to you guys. I don't really love magic school stories. If I ever somehow make it big as a writer or director, whichever, which will never happen, and I get to do one of those, I'd love for the main character have an educational assistant based off of Harold Shea, and he still flubs the broom thing, lands in the pile of mud. The students laugh. Oh, you think this is funny for you? I got a spell for you too. Starts throwing mud. Ingvi was a louse.
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there. As a writer, like, so you want to write like a book or something, nobody stops you from doing that. Just do it.
Yep.
The
Oh,
sooner you
absolutely,
start, the better you will be.
absolutely. I'm just trying not to puff myself up here too much.
Okay, so we meet
Well, if
Fridays
you're
for
gonna
a
do that,
writing
keep
group
the
on my
camera off.
channel. Um, I expect to see something by you written, an outline or some idea by next Friday.
Uh, well, I can definitely hop in one of these Fridays, but I can't promise it'll be next one.
No. You're required.
I'll take that laugh that you're joking, but well,
You will
let me
get an F for not
together.
showing up.
All right, fine. I'll put something together, and I'll stop by, and we'll figure it out. Um,
You will get an F for not showing up.
I'm showing up, you penis breath. I'm coming.
You're gonna get an F anyway.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, he's right. I probably will get an F. Yes.
You don't want to
I
Wow,
mean,
this
know.
you look at this
evolved
little pig
quickly.
nosed. You look at this little pig nosed guy. Does he look like he gets good grades? Does this guy look like a model student
I
to
don't know.
you?
Compared to Shadow, yes.
He looks like he just horfed his brother's ashes.
Yes, but like I said, compared to Shadow, yes.
Okay, now I'm just imagining like this little guy like hobbling over with like an apple in his hand, puts it on the teacher desk. Here you go.
Maggots
Hobbles
come
over
out
to
of
his desk.
it. Maggots come
You
out of
know,
it.
I'll take a look at that Murder Hobo. I really like a lot of things I've read by him. I just don't like him, so I don't
Yeah,
know if
Yes,
I could
like
yes.
watch him.
it's like you don't like what DC did to you. Cool, fuck DC. But it's like don't donate your money to Black Lives Matter, a terrorist group. I mean, come on, dude. Show some
Yeah,
class.
yeah. His BBC online writing like discussion videos are pretty good though.
Hmm.
I've watched a few of them. He has a
Yeah.
bunch of them. I think he like they're still coming out though. So
Yeah, but I also
there's
saw a video where he tried to do some real magic and it failed spectacularly, and he
yeah.
had some.
Well,
Pretty sure the guy flat out admitted that the whole magician routine is just a shtick. He doesn't actually do believe in magic.
yeah. You were breaking up through that.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'll hold it against you.
I know you will.
So,
Oh,
would you guys recommend this to other people?
Yes, with the understanding that mathematics of magic does everything this story does countless times better.
Okay.
Harold comes into his own. He's got more of a distinct personality. The gags are much better and more frequent. I will give this one credit. The scene where they melt the guy's nose and the broom scene, those are gold. Like, Friend Harold, I don't think you have the spell figured out. Ah! That's great.
yeah.
But, yeah.
Like the real sense of shock during the rhinoplasty scene.
Mhm.
Um, that's good. Like I really like that, and like the actual sense, like when he pulls out his Boy Scout book and it's all gibberish. The like realization that
Yeah, I hated that.
that's a callback to like the rules are different. So
Mhm. Same
like
with his match is not working,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
yeah
hated all of that.
What I
yeah
do by contrast, what I don't
um
hate is, the line he has here as he realizes that the trick magic they were gonna do is actual magic. Quote, "Harold Shea was a warlock." Oh, and
oh
speaking of, Harold Shea was actually statted up, and I think I linked this earlier. If not, I can do so now. In Dragon number 59. We're skipping ahead a little bit from
yeah
Beast Thing.
yeah
Really?
you put a link to Dragon Magazine.
Mhm.
um and there were some stats there on that page, I think.
Yes.
I wish
um
they would have done that a lot more, or maybe I just missed it. But you know,
and then it gives a summary of the story.
there's
Hmm.
a whole lot of fictional characters. My friends and I argued about like Robin Hood, for example. Was he a ranger? Was he an archer? Was he multi-classed? You
Hmm.
know,
They do a
things like
thing where Harold is a fighter, but he's got spell-like abilities, and while I understand what they're going for, like, honestly, you could have easily just made him a fighter magic user. Mind you, I would have also put him at neutral good as opposed to chaotic good, but I'm also Tanner.
Yeah. What year was this issue?
59, that would be, scrolling up. This was like, the Fiend Folio had just came out, so like 1980 or 1981.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh,
Dragon Monthly. Probably should have looked this up before. Sorry. Oh,
it's
here we go. Here we go. March 1982.
Hmm.
okay. Normally they put that shit on the front cover. Where the hell are you seeing it?
Page
Page.
2. Right under Dragon Magazine TM.
Ah, right there. I see it. Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
would really
Issue 9.
maybe even
59.
I might have
Oh,
bought
yes.
more Dragon magazines that I known that they had done that more often.
Oh,
Put
dude, you are gonna love Giants of the Earth then, as that comes up in the next couple of issues, because that one, admittedly, not a ton of Appendix N characters. Moldvay and his buds tend to do a lot more of their favorite characters, but
okay,
having this as a baseline is really nice, even if a lot of this is overpowered house rule junk.
right.
But I still love it.
Yeah.
So Justin, would you recommend this one?
To somebody that knew what they were getting into.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is very 40s madcap comedy.
I definitely wouldn't because I'd be too busy recommending other things. Now, to someone who like myself has said, "Gosh, I've read just about everything." I'm like, "Well, let's read this one."
Well, you haven't read just about everything. You've
No,
read a
no, I mean,
lot of stuff from before 1962.
Also, I love your comment here, Murder. I can fling fireballs better than Alan can, which you probably can.
I also have a small canister of butane and a lighter.
yeah, that's
Um,
one of the big top 10 reasons I'm wanting to move to Texas so I can actually own a flamethrower. Uh,
dude, you can buy Spaceballs to Flamethrower!
yep. Sorry about the dog.
Well,
He's
alright.
been weird. He's
The
been.
dog,
I gave him a bath and a haircut a week ago, and he still won't come near me.
Mm.
the dog didn't like the story either. He's barking in disapproval.
He's just being a jackass.
Yeah.
Chewy, shut up.
He's hid up. He's hid up under the bed upstairs every day since Friday or Saturday, and he only comes down when I'm up here now. He's like he still thinks I'm going to do it again. It's like,
What you
dude,
are.
well, yeah, but like in a couple of months, not like the next day. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
got it over with. We trimmed him.
You know what you should have done? Throwing
What?
him back into the. If he starts doing that, just throw him back into the shower right away until he gets used to it, and then.
Yeah, well, he's
The,
to the point he's barely eating. You
yeah.
know?
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's not...
yeah. So he's like really, really terrified of something that was actually one of the gentlest experiences he's had, and he came out looking like a brand new dog. He's got to feel better, but his
No,
little,
because it's
his
not
little
natural for dogs.
he needed a haircut.
Um, so, any closing thoughts, fellas? And
Oh
what
yeah,
shall
yeah.
our
I got a couple more
next,
questions.
okay.
Yeah.
The first one is favorite part of the book.
I already said the cockroach race in the
Oh, the
sun.
cockroach race was your
And
favorite.
apparently I've
No,
already said
but
two. Toss up between, Harold actually using magic for the first time, much to his surprise,
which is
or
right
the
after that.
broom ride afterwards, where he's like, yeah, I can do this, but because of the instructions he gives to the spell, they go way too fast, and they're like, ah!
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Just right of their life right there.
yeah.
And the biggie for me is always, what would you take from this story and incorporate into one of your games, if anything?
Probably already take quite a bit from this already.
Well,
The
share with the rest of the class.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
the possibility of multiple world travel, at least for a short bont or two, not every other week.
Uh-huh.
I probably don't have my giants I probably don't have my giants use words like use, but honestly, my giants probably have more of a sort of calming but also very menacing sort of voice like this. But definitely the betrayal of giants here and their culture. I am not adverse to having gods wandering the earth from here to there, as long as it's not like everyone running out to greet whatever deity from the manual. They're on serious business there. Definitely the betrayal of how magic feels, definitely how it's like. Magic honestly, a lot of this is in AD&D already.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really know. There's like the Tanner said, there's a lot of it in there already, but maybe a pompous know-it-all college professor in a
Psychiatrist, that's
department
even
that
worse.
no, he worked at a college. His department was funded by some guy that died, and they were just like making shit up while collecting paychecks. Uh, because they had to justify their pre-funded grant money department. that I did like of the story. That I
Yeah,
changed my mind. I changed my mind before they start getting into all this stupid physics. That was my favorite part of the story when they described what their department was, which was
Honestly,
like
Justin,
some guy died and left the school a bunch of money to keep his
honestly,
psychology
Justin,
department
this story is
running.
really timeless because of that.
nice, Tanner. You guys reminded me of something that I did like about this. That had nothing to do with anything we were talking about was the turnips, the turnip jokes.
Oh yeah,
Oh
turn
yeah,
up,
that's
yeah,
also
turn.
kind of what I meant by like Harold's just getting kicked this entire story. So that for context, viewers, he's being served dinner by the guy's daughters. I think one of them is a shield maiden. We also learned that Harold does not like brawny, buxom women. He likes them skinny, which is probably why he's not clicking with Gretchen at all. Yeah, I think most of our tastes are probably closer to the brawny and buxom thing, but I digress.
No.
And
I like the skinny. I like those
Yeah,
skinny chicks.
fair
yeah,
enough, fair enough.
over
Freak
a
on
buck,
freak.
over $1.10, and I'm not interested.
Unless it's in the rack.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's describing. But I digress. So, Harold's not adverse to the meat and the
No,
bread
no,
and the mead, but
brawny. Brawny suggests muscle. That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
that
I like
word
strong.
means. Brawny.
But I'm trying to get to here is he kind of looks at this like, hey, listen, this is nice and all, but can we have like a vegetable to like counter this? And everyone's like gobsmacked for a bit before they burst out laughing. We use those to feed animals. You're Turnip Harold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
it was like a vegetable to go
yeah,
with his like 40 pounds of meat.
yeah,
right. That was the other part I was getting to was not necessarily in my Saturday or Sunday game, but over the years, I've had these players that really try to skimp out on what their characters eat because they don't want to pay for it.
You
Okay.
haven't made us in over a year's play. You haven't made us eat once.
Well, no, that's not true. Christmas Eve, when
Oh,
Santa,
that's some
when
fucking.
Saint Nick came along, I most certainly did make you
One
eat.
fucking meal. It's like,
Hey,
man, I keep trying to divert to something other than combat in your game, and you're like, no, we gotta go kill some skeletons.
yeah,
well, I
Why
mean,
do
you
you
can
have
never
to?
kill enough
I'm literally
skeletons,
trying
but
to do something else, and you're like, it's time to go for combat again. And it's like, fuck, man. I've been trying to build a goddamn boat for 4 years now. We haven't even been playing for 2,
um, but the
and
description
half the
of
party has been 2.
it's only been since December that they've been trying to do that, or maybe a little bit longer, and
Yeah, and
since
every time
December
somebody
only.
mentions it up, you throw something into the party's way.
And
It's
since
getting kind of
December
annoying.
only, less than 2 whole months have gone by in gameplay. But the size and the cuts of the meals and the meat uh, reminded me that I need to make my players ravenously hungry at all times because they're
yes,
adventurers and they live in a time where they can get away with that. Um, and going to the grocery store, looking at a Flintstonian style steak or a steak fit for a Viking, you cannot be found in my neck of the woods. You
Indeed.
get these tiny little freaking steaks. They're like this big, and when it cooks down, it won't even cover a bun. Uh, so
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah,
DMs
That's why.
really need to put more effort into the description of food in their games because, as Bees pointed out in one of his vids, if you're just eating iron rations, you're gonna die of a deficiency later on. You're gonna get
no,
scurvy. So
if not,
definitely.
you're going to get incredibly bound up and spend a good part of every day trying to take a dump, but not being
Mm-hmm.
able to.
That's
Mm-hmm.
why you wrap it in bacon.
I mean, most things are better wrapped in bacon, so I can see
Yes,
the
yes,
appeal.
yes. If I could have only wrapped my cigarettes in bacon, that would have been.
You totally
Oh.
did back when you were young. He's laughing. He's confirming it, Justin. Um, but yeah, as like a DM, you should
Well,
absolutely be describing.
when he was young, cigarettes were called rocks.
They were called sticks.
You hadn't figured out that technology yet.
Bunga bunga. Oh.
Technology. I. But yeah, this wasn't my favorite, but it was far from my least favorite. Uh, One of these
Indeed, I
days
feel like
we're gonna have to do a rating video on some of these books,
we
or
should
or,
absolutely
or
do a
Yeah.
tier list. Yeah, but
Yes.
again, this is one
Um.
I didn't love, but there's some great stuff in here. It's worth reading for the historical purposes, and that the sequel is better, much better, much. Which reminds me, if we ever do the sequel, as opposed to your usual song, Shadow, there's one particular piece of music I'd like you to play instead, but we can discuss that after the show. Keep the viewers
sure,
in
sure, sure.
It's he has the copyright to that song. It's not something he pulled off the internet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was not the implication. Just you'll
If,
see when
if
you hear it.
if
But
somebody else owns it, though, we have to be careful. For
it is public domain because it's been around for a while, and the
okay,
author was anonymous. But again, you'll people who are familiar with this stories know exactly what song I'm referring to. But for them, it'll be a surprise. Um,
yeah, okay,
but
Someone put it in the chat.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll just tell you.
uh,
There's a scene in the second one where they get pinned by a monster. It demands a poem, one he's never heard before, and Harold, rather red cheeked, realizes that the one that he's remembering is the infamous Ballad of Escamonel, which is one of the filthiest pieces of music ever written.
Ballad of Esco.
Yes,
okay,
it's a satire on like westerns and like great Canadian wilderness stories, except the villains are completely sex starved and uh yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
okay. Yeah, please do. Um,
Um, but what you don't need to leave there is yes, DMs. You should absolutely be describing and showcasing like beautiful glazed ducks, fresh apples and berries out in the woods. Um, Uh, so what are some other great delicacies? Elderberry wine, chip
bacon.
salad, bacon. Yes, absolutely, always bacon. Yes,
Big.
always. Yes, you should. Along with the iron rations, there should be an offer for like this really luxurious, beautiful food that the player characters can get stuffed on.
Yeah,
Not even
most
a
of my
question.
Yeah.
players need to get stuffed. Um,
Yes. Hey, I wasn't going there.
I have no desire to participate in any of your films, Shadow. You are not
that's what I
stuffing
meant.
me.
Not
There are
that
no
kind of
films.
stuff either, you hoser.
There are no films. There have never
When
been films.
I,
There
Dick,
never will
and
be films.
Mexican Pete go out in search of fun.
I do
So,
not believe you, Shadow.
any last words on this particular book, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to read next.
Besides
Uh,
Ingvi being a louse,
Okay.
yeah. Um, we need to find something for in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Um, I have nothing. I was looking before the show. Uh, so
I was hoping we could find something new as opposed to going back to one of the other stories, like Conan or Fafhrd and Grey Mouse. Or we will be going back to, I believe it's the Sign of the Unicorn next month. I believe in honor of the man's birthday. But
I just picked one, sort of, so I feel a little bad offering some suggestions, but I'll do it anyway. We could do one of Jack Vance's, maybe The Dying Earth, if we've not done that yet. We could
we have
do
done
Jack
the
We've
Dying
done
Earth.
the
Williams.
first
Oh,
one.
and you have done Jack Williams a little bit ago, so Darker Than You Think is out. Have you guys dug into, let's see here, Understanding? Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna recommend him here because this was a bit of a and I don't want to throw this guy on you guys yet. Lynn Carter is probably my favorite bad writer.
I was looking for Lynn Carter earlier, um, but the only ones it says here are the World's End series. Now
Never
it
read
could
any
be
of those.
just be that I couldn't find the other ones. Are is he mentioned only for that series in the
Just for that series, so he's written much more. He's an author that a
yes
lot of people hate, and I genuinely love. Part of it is his work. Part of it is that he helped me get back into reading. Which, granted,
yeah
there are better authors to do that, but I guess I kind of owe it to him.
Nothing wrong with that.
okay, and this here is the entire. No,
Almost
it's a
entire. You're missing the Giant at World's End, which is the last in the series, but it came out first because
no. This link you sent
Mhm.
is is there like a download for the entire book, or is it just the flip page?
I think you gotta log in and flip the book. It says there's no download options. Let me check another source.
Yeah, because
Now, I have no problem actually, buying the a hard copy of the book, but we
yeah,
always we always try to go with something quicker,
Yeah.
just because most of us.
And even
Uh,
then, since Justin didn't love the last two books, we should find something that he's like
don't
really
worry
good.
about that.
I know, I just
Don't
like
worry
knocking
about
your
that.
socks off is all. Um, I will get a link just for respect.
Just whatever you can find first is good enough by me.
All right.
Um,
We could read something by Paul Anderson. He's absolutely superb.
uh,
have we read anything by him?
yeah, the Broken Sword.
Ooh,
That one was the one with the elf that got swapped at the beginning,
yeah, the
wasn't it?
Changeling.
The Changeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Was
I
that
didn't really
that one?
like that one. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
it
really
got better, but it was. Yeah.
endings are tough for you. Okay. We could read something by Burroughs if we've not yet. Oh. Have we done Lord Dunsany yet?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
read the Charwoman's Shadow.
Oh, right. How about anything by Philip Jose Farmer?
I
I,
don't think so.
Oh. Oh, wait, no. I know what we should read. Have we read anything by Fred Saberhagen yet?
We just
uh,
read Berserker.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do this.
yeah.
Michael
Y-
Moorcock.
We read
yeah. The
Elric of Melvin.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look through the archives. I'm gonna see what you guys have not read yet,
Yeah,
because we should have
the
done this
things
before.
we've read, like when you there's an arrow in front of each name on the greater list, and that will open the list for that author, and each one has a check mark if we've read a book by them.
Right.
And if
Well,
we
there's good.
finished everything, if we finished everything on the list by them, their name is checked off completely, so you
Which I
don't
don't
have
think we
to.
have done.
Uh,
Um,
only the
John Belair's.
John Blair.
Okay.
Fuck. There's someone at the bottom of the list and Tolkien because we're not doing Tolkien. We've
Oh,
all read Tolkien.
well, did we read Manly Wade Wellman? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's the
that
other
was the
one. We
Bigfoot one. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Uh,
wasn't really Bigfoot, but yeah.
Um, someone we could read that we've not, you guys haven't touched yet, or but we could dig into, and it's only like one mark, so that would get it off the list. Not a diss to the author, of course. Just Frederick Brown. We could read What Mad Universe.
Do you know where it is?
Let me take a look. Frederick
I'm
Pratt.
amazed that he even knew what was written by him. I'm looking at the list. I'm like, there's a
Hey,
whole
you put
bunch
it
of
down,
people
man.
with nothing after their name, and
Frederick
I'm like,
Brown's a bit of a big name
No,
in
no, no,
sci-fi,
no,
dude. I
no.
mean,
Shadow. They're all collapsed lists. You have to open them up
no,
to.
I'm looking in the DMG.
Oh.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
There should be an audiobook for this here. Where the
Uh,
fuck is my universe? Um,
yeah. I don't know if there's more from him before 77, but like there was a point because I did this all in one night, and then
Mhm.
there was a point where I just like got tired and gave up.
there is something like Hall of Mirrors, but that's a short story and admittedly
Yeah,
not
that's
the best
fine.
one in the world. Okay. There's
Just uh, Hall of Mirrors, is it by the same author?
yes, yes.
Okay,
I know
I'll add
he
it to.
made a couple of stories about a gadgeteer and his superior, and that gets out of hand. But that's not quite. Here we go.
Hall of Mirrors.
Yeah, it's
Is
on
it?
Appendix E of fifth edition. Hmm. We could try something from the inspirational source material of BX or one of the other reading lists out there. I mean, try
No,
something really off the hoof.
we were doing this one specifically.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough.
I want to get the oldest of the old and the first list knocked out before I start bouncing back and forth.
Of
Uh,
course.
because there's going to be duplications and there's so much here that I have read, but there's still a fair amount that I haven't, and I want to stretch myself and expose myself to new authors that I
As
know I
you
have
should,
never
of
read.
course.
Uh,
Actually, here's an idea. How about Justin and Shadow? What are you guys like really in the mood for right now? Like,
Well, we can
story wise, at least.
if this Lynn Carter book is like the EPUB, we can just do that one.
which
Fair
one?
enough. It's just Warrior World's End.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do that.
Warrior
Knock it
World's
off.
End.
Uh, if you can find
Again,
it,
I'm going to warn
It's
you guys right now. This is not the best book by any stretch. I just kind of like it.
yeah, it's just an EPUB, so you have to like download the thing and read it on your screen there, Shadow.
okay.
Um, an ebook. I will link that there. It says when you go to the page, there's stuff at the bottom. I guess
Would you guys
there
be down
was
for reading some August Derlith?
um
Come October, September, October, or maybe
Fair
even in
enough.
August.
For something more traditionally good, we could try out Maker of Universes. That's Philip Jose Farmer.
Try what?
Maker of
Uh,
Universes.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, let's do this book because don't forget we're doing this again in 2 weeks afterwards.
yeah,
So
yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
just you know where they are. I'm going to add this link. Um, Tanner,
Hmm.
instead of putting the I will give you edit abilities in that document.
Okay.
Um, Instead of putting the links in the chat, just space down at the end of the thing and put the link there, and then approve it
Okay.
in the document.
One sec.
Uh, or just make it like
Hold
if
on a
you
sec, folks. You guys,
highlight the book title and then right click, it'll say comment, and then just put the link to that thing in the comments, and I'll add it later. Do you know how to do that? Uh,
Back, someone just offered me a slice of ice cream cake.
oh,
But, yeah, absolutely. I'll link those later on.
yeah, yeah. It's just like whenever you find them or see them, just that way, uh, you just click on the link inside the document, and it'll take you to the thing.
Yeah. Again, if I had my head on straight, I'd insist on Maker of Universes or Broken Lands, which I can link. But we'll
We
do.
we will definitely get to them.
Yeah.
Just like we have this one right here in front of us.
In that case, we'll do Warrior World's End, and what will be will
Yeah,
be.
yeah. It's
Just
not
make
that
sure you
long.
go in with a drink.
Yeah. Uh, I was actually looking for this very book earlier.
Which one?
Uh, The Warrior at World's End. Um, if you go to the document and you go to Link Carter,
Uh-huh.
there's a link there to it, but it's not like an audiobook. You have to like read it. I guess send it.
Yeah, I've noticed that a bunch of his other series are much easier to find. It took me ages to find my copy of Warrior World's End, and I've
Yeah,
still not
Warrior
found. Yeah,
Warrior World's End is on eBay, $4 plus $5 shipping.
nice.
So $9.
Yeah. But is that the first one in the series?
So,
Yes. Yes.
kind
Okay.
of. So what happened is that back in '69, he did a novel called Giant at World's End, and then a couple years on, his editor's like, "Hey, that story was pretty fun. Why don't you do a couple of others?" It wasn't the best in the world, but because someone asked for more, he's like, "Yeah, I'll make more." And so he decided to start the series over at one, and that would lead to Giant, or at least Giant was a prototype. Um, so
Yeah.
technically, even though the series ended because very few people actually like them very much, the series has an ending.
Yeah. Okay, so like he did the last one first, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That happens.
So
Um,
which one would we be reading?
Warrior
the
World's End.
chronological first one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Warrior of World's End.
Yes.
Yeah. If you look for Gondwing or whatever,
Mhm.
uh, I almost found I found a link to them on Pirate Bay, but they're not moving on the download, so
Oh dear.
it could be that my hard drive for that stuff is full.
Mm.
I got a bunch of red bars here, so
Splendid. We have our sorry dessert.
yeah, ice cream cake. You said the one thing that bacon does not make better, but I recommend eating a piece of it right after some bacon.
Indeed. But yeah, we've set our piece on the story. We have our next heading. We can't
Yes.
wait to see you guys in 2 weeks. And yeah,
Yeah.
Angry was a louse. Take care,
Uh,
everybody.
yeah. Take care. Party on. If we're ending now, I don't know. Shadow.
I'm sorry. I was
Oh,
looking for the.
he had to go. That's
Yeah,
why.
I got that. He doesn't realize that we usually ramble on for hours and hours and hours afterwards.
Yeah.
And I did tell Raven that I would send her the link. I don't know if I did. I'm going to send it to her anyways. See if
Yeah.
she needs some cheering up because she had a rough day. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She wants to talk about it. She can. If not, and if you got to leave, just let me
I'm
know.
not going anywhere for at least 40 minutes.
Okay. I was also looking for that book in paperback or hardback or what have you, just in case I actually like it. Because I do tend to like books that there's more than one in the series for some reason. I've always been a big fan of that. It's probably from reading things like Doc Savage and comic books as a kid. Huh, that's weird.
What's weird?
I was trying to send Raven the message, but she wasn't appearing in my
Uh,
Facebook thing. So I did manage to get a lot of the God Wars stuff done for week 4. I sent out the message to everybody: "Hey, get your shit together, because starting week 5, if you don't give me your stuff, I'm not going to pass for you. If you miss out,
yeah.
you miss out, and if you get attacked, sucks to be you."
Yeah.
So,
I've got to. I've already started like pre-writing some orders down for every week, and yeah, I didn't realize about that one mistake. Uh,
yeah, a lot of people
because
made the same mistake,
yeah,
and I need to clarify some stuff. But that's something I'm actually going to try and get to this week, just not this weekend. I've got, oh my god, I've got,
Okay,
go ahead.
so minion, then hero, then how many other things? And is there
General.
like a variant of hero? Is it just
No,
minion
no, it's just
hero?
hero. It's just hero.
It's just
And a lot of people are like, well, why do they got to be three steps? Because a hero can go into multiple things, whereas a minion is just the basic starting. And I don't want it to be
no.
so easy that people just crank out especially the spellcasters,
Well,
because after hero there's general, priest, wizard, spy, and assassin.
okay. So write all those down and send them to me in Discord later,
Yeah,
and
and then there's
I will create a flow chart and put it on the sidebar
okay.
for each of them. Because the way I look at it is, okay, there's a person that has been pointed out,
Yeah.
right? And then the hero is the distinguishing thing that makes them notable in the world,
Yep.
besides being pointed out. And then the trait is what they specialize in,
Right.
right? Like so, uh, uh, Bill the doofus, I don't know, whatever, is pointed out. Bill the doofus does something magical. Bill the doofus, or something magical, is what makes him a hero. Bill the doofus gets recruited as a wizard.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And then and some of those go one
and
step further after that.
and also list those out as when you send me the email, so I
Yeah.
know when to and tag what they are for, to so I can
Right.
flowchart them. That way, I can just like copy minion eight or nine times, and then put like hero 8 or 9 times, and then
Hmm.
what they subset into after, and then
Right.
because the point, I take this as the point of that is so you can have fun writing that flavor text.
Not yeah. Not just that, but uh,
Not you, the player of the
right.
god.
Right.
Right. That's why
And,
you notice when I tried to do multiple minions,
yeah.
um, and like they all have like stupid fucking names and shit like that, and little flavors. Obviously, you can choose to integrate that into the
The
world as you
reports.
please or whatever.
Right, and the naming is also important because that's all that the other players would know is if it comes up and they hear a name, then
Yeah.
that's why you have assassins, is so that you can
Hmm.
go kill that guy, or you can try to kill that very specific individual, which was a thing. You know, that's what assassins do, is they go and kill very specific individuals usually. Um, uh,
They try.
right, right, and it's not just a speed bump to keep people from advancing too quickly.
Yeah.
It's so that you can get to uh, you know get into the aspect of a little bit of role playing, and getting a feel for these individuals, and what they might be like and what they do. And you're not the only one who's doing what you're doing with the flavor text, and
Yeah.
all that. There's a lot of people involved in this that are doing the more or less solo role playing within a large group. And
Yeah. And,
I predict that those are the people that will do the best and have the most fun.
yeah. Now, when it comes to magic, right? Like, how exactly? Because I'm having trouble understanding that.
Okay,
I'm looking through. It's like,
this is how it works. Your
so,
mystic
well,
power level
so
is
the mystic power level of my god,
mhm,
and then I can just like, so say mine's like 5. Are there any spells that I'm not able to?
yes,
Mine's
any
not
level
5.
6 and above.
Okay, so any level 6 or above. But how do I tell? Because I looked at the magic. I
Okay,
separated. I'm the one that created the separate list of all the magic spells in the thing, and I do not see clearly denoted levels for each spell. Maybe I just missed it in
Yeah,
the text
they're
block.
listed in order of level.
The massive list.
Yes, each category, and that's why there's two number ones, and then a two, three, four, and all the way to 10. Because I want to make sure, or I wanted to make sure that if you had a one, you could at least do two things. So there's literally two first level spells. There's one
Okay.
second, third, fourth, all the way to 10th level spell.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna open up thing. Maybe I just totally misunderstood it.
yeah, it wasn't
Maybe
just
it,
listing them in or like some sort of alphabetical order. If they're listed in level, first through 10th,
yeah.
and that's also the number of spell points out of your 10 mystic power level points you have. Say you had a 10. That means you could cast two fives or a third and a seventh. However, you can only cast one.
Okay. So this here, that's the big long list at the top, right?
Yes, yes,
Can you okay get rid of that and then just put the actual items, like the actual spells themselves.
I did.
J- No, no, like you have that, but move that from like a list form to just say uh 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 anime dead level whatever that
But
is.
that's the problem. Is it's not a specific level for different people. Animate Dead is a different level spell because some people have a little more familiarity with such a thing, and some people barely
Okay.
get it at all.
Okay, so I'd have to go to whatever my like
School
so
or sphere is
yeah.
to see what level you get that spell at. And
Yeah.
I did that specifically because some things are easier for some people in some schools.
Yes. So I would go to like my racial sphere,
Uh huh.
and then I'd go to whatever my like say I'm chaos or whatever.
Right. You should your god should have access to six or seven spheres of magic.
I have no idea what mine are.
Okay,
I know my racial one and my alignment one, but
it breaks down to your race, your alignment, your two mystic spheres, and if you know, like you picked a sphere that doesn't correspond, then it'll correspond to one of the stats, right?
okay. So like so if I made up my own secondary thing, whatever
Yes,
stat that goes to is what that actually
right.
is.
And then you get access to two elements, not all four,
Yeah.
which are also more or less corresponding to something about your character's design already. And then uh, if you don't already have it, then you get the one that whatever your prime attribute of the five at your beginning character creation is. Like say your might is your highest stat, then you get the might
Mhm.
sphere.
Okay. Okay.
And the way spells work is at the beginning of your turn, your spellcasters pick a spell they're going to cast, and then they do it. If they have any spell points left, they can use those in combat in addition to the other spell.
Mhm.
Because most of the spells are like really big rituals that take all your shit. But if for some reason you engage in combat, whether you're attacked or the attacker, and you have points left, then you can use spells that say can be used in combat. Because not all spells can be used in combat. You know, if you try to do a summoning spell, that doesn't usually work in combat because that's a big ass ritual.
Yeah, you need to have that done in advance or whatever.
Right. That way you can march with them because they're going to last the whole week anyways. And
Yeah.
that's then the spells tell you how far they work depending on certain criteria, what they affect, and how much damage they do. Just remember that if you are standing in your place of power or in a temple, which can also be on a place of power, or in a wizard tower,
Yeah.
which can also be on a place of power, those bonuses from those places stack onto your mystic power. That's why you're building those places. So
Yeah.
you could literally have a temple inside a city, inside or on top of a place of power. So you'd get all those stacked magical bonuses for each of your spell casting minions, which could
Yeah,
be which could
I
be
need to go through my document and make those distinctions clear. The card system I was doing before is just kind of annoying.
okay,
Uh,
um, because
yeah.
you can get from your place of power, a wizard in a tower on a place of power is going to get like +2 to his mystic power.
Yeah.
That's why you do that, which can
Yeah.
make the difference between casting, like an 8th level spell or pulling a freaking demon, out of a 10th level spell, or an angel, or some of the other 10th level spells that people might not be suspecting that you have up your sleeve. Um, the other thing is, get into the habit of picking your magic spells that you're casting first as one of your first things you do. It's a free action. So if you know that you've cast, like, say, a rage spell on your army and they're about to go into combat, well, that whole
Wait.
week they've got that
So
rage.
I thought the magic counted as one of your actions.
Mm,
So I could have been casting magic this whole
yes,
time.
yes.
Fuck.
Magic and movement are free,
Yeah. Okay.
because otherwise nothing would get done. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Okay. Uh.
Imagine having to move like your 4 armies into war, and it took up all 4 out of your 5 actions. You'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm screwed. I'm
Now
going to war and not
there
doing
should
anything
be
else.
some limit to those based on some stat.
There is a movement stat that determines how far you can move.
Okay. No, I was thinking like how many orders you could give per turn based on a stat. So the higher that stat is, the more you can move.
Your influence is going to determine how many generals and high priests you can have, and your those people will determine how many armies and multitudes, etc. you can have.
Yeah.
That's part of how
Okay.
the
So I have to, and is that a 1-to-1 number?
for influence.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So whatever your influence is the number of
Generals and high
general.
priests or
Ge-
priests.
yeah. So you need like a priest for a multitude and a general for an army.
Exactly.
So
Or
I
an air
need
force
to.
or what have
Yeah,
you.
and you can have those things. They just can't do shit until you assign one of
Well,
like you see you can.
you're supposed to have the general before you can recruit an army. Otherwise,
Yeah,
who's leading the army and how are you recruiting it?
yeah. Well,
Same with multitude. They're just milling about. You know, it's already
yeah,
assumed that your cities and castles have people in them, but they're just
yeah.
not armies or multitudes. And a
Okay.
multitude starts out with a mystic power score of 1, which means they can actually cast a spell.
So I think I've made a bit of a mistake. I have a couple of those just sitting around at cities, but
Mhm.
I'm in the process of getting those. So I will correct that and not do that mistake again.
Yeah, I've been
Um,
uh, there have been a couple of issues where it was my fault and it was unclear,
yeah,
so I'm not going to, penalize people, but they just,
yeah.
by
Well,
turn,
I
by
haven't moved any of that stuff, so it
right,
won't
exactly.
affect
Everybody's,
it.
well, not everybody. There are people who are marching to war as we speak,
Yeah,
but they've got all their ducks in a row. I want to say, so there's
yeah,
that. But by turn, by the end of turn 4, beginning of turn 5, when the other thing is, where if you miss your turn, you're shit out of luck.
yeah,
Everybody needs to, and I'm going to go over everybody's thing. I created a new thing on the character sheets where I'm keeping track of everybody's stuff, so that I can keep track to make sure they have enough generals and priests for their armies and multitudes,
yeah.
etc.
You see how I have my actions laid out. You can do that for each and every player in a Google Doc, and just have it as separate tabs for each of them, and then have
Well, I've got a
like a
notebook
master.
where I've
Yeah.
got dedicated pages for each player, so I'm keeping track because sometimes I'm doing a couple of things at once, and I need a hard copy
Yes.
so that
Okay.
I can, because sometimes I do take it with me when I'm going on a drive or something, and I can, like today, I spent most of today while reading this story or listening to it. I was plotting the the
I
move.
suggest you do back it up to Google Docs.
Mhm.
Um, say at the end of every month or so, in case you lose that notebook, because
Right, right,
the game is fucked if you lose that notebook and you don't do that. It's just like, sorry, there are no winners. We all lose. Shadow lost his book at the Walmart.
Yes, and for those of you who are in the game and you're playing, I am available. Like I had a meeting with a couple of players one on one, who needed some help just to understand certain things. And
Yeah.
To give you an example, in 30 minutes uh, or less, I can take someone who's never done this or never done anything and get them all the way caught up to date with 3 or 4 turns worth of maneuvers. It's not hard, and if you haven't read the book, well, what the hell are you waiting for? Because I need the feedback and the questions because a lot of things have been clarified because people didn't understand
Yeah.
my chicken scratchings or my my yammerings, and it made a
Yeah.
big difference to the way things have
Yeah.
turned out.
Okay. So back to the magic thing. So my god is represented by my high priest, my avatar, right? So wherever they're standing,
And your God too.
and my god. Okay, so they're separate pieces. I
Yeah, yeah,
wouldn't do
yeah.
them as separate
Your
pieces,
God.
but
Okay, the place of power is like literally like where you were born on the ground,
yeah.
and
Uh,
that place becomes holy, and you use
you
that.
can make more of them though, right?
You certainly
So
can.
they take up 4 actions either at once or spread out over the month.
No, it's two. It's two when you start your empire, and from that point on, it's four, and you can spread them out because that
Yeah.
otherwise
I'm not counting the at the beginning of the game thing.
okay. But yeah, it
I'm
takes
just counting.
four actions to make one any point after the beginning.
So yeah,
If you want to
and they
make
can be all in one week or spread over 4 weeks.
you don't get credit for it till it's done. So
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, if anybody's out there, because we
just
talked
like
about that before.
upgrading a small keep to a grand castle, it takes 3 actions. Well, you can do all three of those actions in one turn if you want,
Yeah,
because they're not duplicate
a
actions
small keep. Um,
or
that's
just
not
a
a
keep.
fort. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a
yeah.
keep.
I really got to go down and look at all the things you can construct, like a full list. Like the way I'm gonna do the minion thing, I also gotta sit down and do that for the tech tree. That's basically what that is, right?
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah, exactly,
forge,
exactly. Just like
the the forge, the large forge, the
Grand
grand
Fort.
forge.
Mhm.
Right, so you
Yeah,
and then
and you can
what they
and
and
things
then
like that you can do all in one turn, 1 week,
yeah,
because they're not a duplicate action. But doing,
yes,
hiring 3 minions, that's the same exact action. Whereas you could literally in 1 week make a forge, large forge, grand forge, and then create the item. Okay,
yeah,
and some people have been unable to wait. It's like, okay, they make like a forge, large forge, make a +2 item, then make a grand forge, then re-enchant the item to make it a +3. Well, you wasted an action if you would have just waited. It's not like you
yeah,
used the item. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Well,
I've seen people.
I made an item, but it was just to like see how the mechanic worked.
Mhm. And you can always
Yeah,
re-enchant the item up to
yeah,
3, and you could also no character can have more than 5 items,
yeah,
one for each stat. So, like some people were making an item that's plus this and plus that, when you should just make a +3 this, a +3 that, +3 that, and a +3 that. Otherwise, you got them all mixed up and stuff, and you got to do like
yeah,
math and shit. It's better to just wait until you can make a +3 item and go, okay, I made a +3 defensive item. Okay, cool. Next
yeah.
week, make a +3 might item.
Hmm.
Instead of going, oh, I made +1 might and +1 defense on this one thing. Okay, well, now the next 2 items you made are like convoluted.
Yeah. Well, you just
Track of it all.
slap. Well, if you have no problem doing that, just
As
make
long as
note
you
of
make
it.
sure that you get no more than +15 points from items, cool.
Total across all your stats.
Yep, yep.
And that's another thing. How to keep track of stats for a character. I'll look at that properly. I skimmed that section. I'll be honest with
Yeah,
you.
I what I do is I just uh like make a big line, separating like here's the starting stats, and then over here they got a +2 from maybe one
Yeah,
thing, and then
yeah,
I'll put
yeah.
a line, and
Dash plus whatever.
yeah, and keep doing that so that I can just follow along, because there's a whole bunch of different ways you can get pluses. like temporary pluses because you're standing here or there, as
Mhm.
well as you cast a spell that gives you, +5 on a thing for this week. Well, that's temporary, but you might want to like always do that one thing. Maybe
Mhm.
your priest or your prophet is always casting this defensive spell just in case. You know, because
Yeah.
there are assassins out there, and if someone says, "Well, I'm going to send my assassin over there and kill his high priest," well, guess
Mhm.
what? His high priest just so happened to have an armor spell or something on him, and you missed, killing him by 1 or 2 points because he had that defensive magic about him.
Mhm. So I can only have as many minions. That's minions and their upgrades and armies per my level of influence.
No,
Okay. So,
no, it's specifically you can have as many minions and heroes. I don't care.
okay. 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 Okay.
It's
It's
general. You can have
specifically
it's generals and priests
generals and priests.
because they're the ones who are actually oversee. They're delegating the work of the overseeing the
Okay.
minions and the heroes.
Okay. So it's only those two,
Yep,
and then they have to raise the armies and multitudes,
right.
and
Uh,
then
like for example, and maybe it's wizards. I have to look, or maybe I didn't even write
that
that.
would really chop into your amount of influence.
Well, I mean, you could if you have an influence of three, you could have three generals, three priests, and three wizards.
Oh, for each, it's for each category, not total.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yeah.
so
Otherwise, it would be everybody would be scrambling to boost up their influence, which is not a bad idea, but it's not the end all be all stat. They're really magic is in the lead for the most important stat, but everything else has its place.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
okay,
Uh, Magic lets you do a whole bunch of different things, whereas might and defense that's all combat and survivability. You know,
yeah,
that's just all there is to it. You're not going to get anything else out of might or defense. No matter how hard you squeeze it, that's what it does. It's pretty simple.
yeah.
Influence, uh, but
But there are defensive things you can build, like forts and like
everything that
mountains
all
or whatever,
stack.
right?
It all stacks.
Yeah,
If you've got it all on one hex, and you got your army there, and your army's got in it, it's got a wizard, a priest, a general, a hero, an assassin, and a spy, and someone tries to attack that square, that hex, well, you beef that shit up by
yeah,
putting all that there, and they're in a grand castle or a fortified city or what have you.
hmm,
Well, they better be prepared when they come to attack you, because that's the whole point of it. When you lay siege to a place, you don't just think you're going to walk through, you know, willy nilly, just like it's made out of tissue paper. You're supposed to kind of do some research. Do a little spying and snooping around, or just look at the freaking map and go, "Oh shit, there's a castle there." Okay, well, if there's a castle there. There might be a dungeon underneath it. There might be
yeah.
an army inside the castle. That army might have other stuff. And oh wait, I remember hearing someone say there's a
Minion.
dragon flying around it. Oh well, crap. That's right there. You can do the math. Well, if I had a dragon on a around on a castle with an army, etc., what numbers would I need to beat that? Well, shit. It looks like I'd need about a 20. Well, gosh, my army's beefed up, but it's only like a 12. I guess it's not really time to go attack that castle.
Yeah. Let's do that flowchart thing right now, if you
Okay.
don't mind. I'll start with the minion because that's the one I was talking about, right?
Okay.
Um, I'm going to open up a Google Doc and I will send it to you via the screen share.
Okay.
We can do it on screen with my speech to text. So, minion, not center screen, not 25.
Okay. While you do that, I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, are you my sharing? Yes, I am. Okay. So
Yeah,
You
I'll be
got
right.
yeah,
Continue.
yeah. I heard that. Do. So minion becomes hero, and then it becomes general, right? Wizard, spy, assassin, and what was the other one? Does anyone remember? General, wizard, spy, assassin. Oh god, I don't remember what he said. But nonetheless, so basically, I'm going to put that down there for now. Get rid of that period. Bring that down. Make it that. And then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here. Boop. And then I want that to not be that, but how do you sub it in further? Uh, no. Uh, Fuck. Trying to figure out how to get it to do a third tier. Nonetheless, uh, you're back.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then what was the? It was general, wizard, spot.
Spy, assassin,
Yeah, and that was just the four of them.
uh, priest, general,
Okay, priest
wizard.
is the one I was missing.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the more important ones.
Yeah, no, it's just I spaced on it. Uh, go
And then
to
each of those actually has another tier.
yeah, just let me get the page list.
Some I have to rewrite a little bit, but nobody's even close to that.
Yeah.
General goes to warlord,
Okay. 1 second. I will warlord.
and then priest goes to obviously high priest.
Okay. Go priest. High priest.
Yep.
Uh, Shift, and then spy and assassin.
Yes.
Now, here's a question: do you want to uh, remove assassin as a separate thing and make it a subtitle of spy?
No, because I have them doing two completely different things.
Yeah, but you know what I mean on that, right? Because that is like a progression level, and it gives everything except for wizard uh, a fourth tier instead
They
of
have they have those have fourth tiers.
the wizard.
Uh, Wizard has Archmage,
Okay,
and then
so
Spy and Assassin
archmage,
Archmage for Wizard,
yeah,
and then
mage. Sorry, using speech to text. I'll do it later.
Spy it has Sorcerer Spy,
Sorcerer Spy.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then
Uh,
Mystic Assassin.
Mystic Assassin.
Though most of those just basically allow the spy and the assassin to start using spells in their thing, so that they have access to some of the spells. There's even a special sorcerer's spy spell category, whereas the mystic assassin doesn't need
Mage.
uh, one of their own per se. They can, you know, be a little bit more specialized.
Yes. Uh. Okay. So I'll figure out how to indent these properly later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically the chain for
Mm-hmm. And
those.
I need to make up the stats for some of the upper tiers because I only went to the general, priest, high priest, wizard, archmage, spy, and assassin.
Yeah.
But they
Um.
have different, stat blocks, if you will.
Yeah. I will link you in on this document and just uh add it underneath.
Mm-hmm.
You know, each of them or after them. And then I will create a tab
Okay.
because the clearer this is for each section, the easier it is to reference,
Yeah.
and that's the point of creating this kind of that way less people have to ask you fucking questions at 2 in the afternoon or
Yeah.
not know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, like this guy pointing to myself.
I would like it if.
It was just like the dumber it is to understand, the less you get questions. Right, I'm gonna stop sharing this.
Mhm.
Um,
And I can work
and-
on other stuff, like my
yeah,
X Files story
yeah,
or the cop game.
or the cop game. Um, I definitely want to make that like a bunch of useless web spells supplement for for I guess Shadow Dark. I don't fucking know.
I'm gonna have to go through the Arduin books because Arduin had multiple kinds of web spells and multiple kind of like wall spells or prismatic magics.
Yeah.
They really ran with those two uh, aspects of
Fuck you guys. I've patent pending on Prismatic Web and Asthmatic
asthmatic.
Web.
Jinx, show me a coke. Yeah, that was actually a really fun session last week. I just have
If you can take it, if you can take it,
oh coke.
if you can
No,
take it,
no,
take it, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it,
I
take it,
wouldn't drink
take
it.
it,
I wouldn't drink it.
take,
I don't. I
take
only
it.
drink water, man.
You
Shame on
said I
you
owe
for
you a coke. Take it.
shame on you for going back off the wagon. Um,
uh, I grab a case once a month
it's
or
not
whatever.
there's worse things you can be doing.
Yeah.
It's not. You didn't like swear to God or anything like I did. Um,
Oh, grab my
I
notebook.
didn't do that with drinking or coffee or sodas. I know it's best for me, and everybody else is different. I miss it sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
coffee especially. But it just I don't know how long it's going to take my system to get better before I can do it again.
Yeah.
Because I was really drinking way too much coffee and not even getting like
Building.
that too much coffee man superpowers or anything. You know, it was just
Yeah.
you know uh, just a dumb habit, and it took its toll. And maybe someday I'll be able to have like a cup of coffee every once in a while, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to distance myself from all those things that you have to do like ritualistically every day, or else.
you get the jitters.
Well, like with coffee, when I gave up coffee and sodas and caffeine, you get headaches. Okay,
Yeah,
and it turns out that most aspirin has caffeine in it,
yeah,
and that's why most people get headaches, is because they haven't had enough caffeine that day, which is pretty fucking insidious if you think about it. And I had to
uh,
shop far and wide to actually be able to find aspirin that had no caffeine in it.
yeah. Um,
That's like putting salt in water.
I I've always avoided like that stuff because I know that like all of those kinds of drugs have like a cumulative tolerance ratio ratings. So
Mm-hmm.
the more you use them, the less effective they are on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want those things to be effective on me when I use them the first time because I need them and not because you know
Yeah,
um
Excedrin was the biggie. That was the like one of the worst culprits in the thing. One of their main ingredients is freaking caffeine because they just know you probably have a headache because you didn't drink enough caffeine today.
yeah um for caffeine users. Um what are all the different base type buildings that you can list them off slowly?
Okay.
So I know city.
Hmm.
Okay.
And in city, there is no like immediate upgrade for city because you can upgrade it in any way you want. If you spend one action, you get 1 point. Okay.
So like if I just so if I were to like put a city stat down, I just like city one, then city two, city three, city four, city five, and
No,
then additional buildings that I put on it.
no. It's like this. You have city. There's your basic city.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, if you take four cities and put them together, you get a kingdom. That's
yeah.
that's that's a, like an offshoot. But you have a
So it'd
city,
be like four hexes are all in the same hex.
four hexes,
Four hexes, okay. So they
and they
just kind
all
of
get a
like
cumulative little,
merge.
and they all now get a bonus because they're part of the same thing. Otherwise, you take a city, and it's just a city, uh, and if you want to upgrade it, you say, "I want to upgrade my city's might by +1." That's what you get.
And that counts as an action.
Yep,
Um,
and it's
and
kind
you
of
can
a
do
waste.
that. You can do that once a week, or is it once a month, like a stat buff?
It's once a week
Okay.
because you're only getting 1 point for one action, which is a waste. When you could
Yes.
just as easily, for 1 point, say, okay, well, I've got the city, but I'm going to drop a monster on it as its defender.
Yeah.
There are better ways, but
And then you can like move that monster. But
right.
say you've maxed out your influence, so you can't build any more like generals or
Hmm.
wizards or whatever, and you add a defense to your city and make a monster.
Uh-huh. Or more importantly, some buildings give you a plus on mystic power.
Yeah, I also recommend you limit the number of monsters you can make by your influence score as well.
You think so? Hey, what's
Yeah,
up, Dungeon
because then you
Minister?
have like 50 of them, right?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Uh,
Um,
yeah, okay. Which is another reason why you want influence up, as opposed to Owen's argument, where influence was the range that you could influence away from your place of power.
yeah,
That's too.
no, that's circles of influence. That's your sphere. I take it more as like the things you can do and how much you can.
We boiled it down to his argument versus mine. Mine was your influence is like your charisma and leadership, whereas his was your spheres of influence and how far away you can influence things.
Yeah, I took it as the charisma too, like how easy it would, like he suggested. I think on a stream or in a private, I doesn't matter where. Um, like sending a spy and a priest to raise a multitude and some
Right,
other
right.
conversions, right? Like
Mhm.
you're doing conversions.
And
Which I would suggest you allow your players to attach a spy and say a general or a priest. Speaking of priests,
to
to together when you're doing that influence. So like you can't have a multitude without a priest to lead them.
right.
So you need to attach them to go into the foreign city to raise the multitude to do like a fifth column thing or whatever.
Hmm.
You
Well,
can't just like the
right off
spy
the
on
bat,
themselves.
here's one of the problems that everybody's missing about that. And real quick, I want to address the chat. Raven, you know where the link is if you want to come in. Dungeon Minister Justin and I are talking about the God Wars game I created with the help of a whole bunch of people. That is a play-by-post, old school conquest war game, if you will.
Hmm.
Uh, so um, now I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about?
The I was talking about the spies and fifth columning via conversion.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Okay, here's the thing.
and
That's why I had to make up the animosity table.
yeah,
If player X is playing the spider people,
yeah,
and he
because
wants to do that and send his people into the Elven lands, you know what's going to happen, right?
you create a bunch of dark elves.
Well,
You didn't think of that, did you?
no, well, uh, the chances are first before that ever happens,
do you not know how the Eldar became the dark elf?
before that even happens, there's a insanely high chance that they're just going to kill everything that's not a dark elf that walks into their city gate.
Yes, yes, like that's why you need the spy, and the spy has to have a high enough skill
Well, it's
to.
not even. I don't care what your
Yeah,
influence is. If you're
yeah,
a spider trying to a spider spy, because don't forget,
yeah.
all your people are the same thing as you are.
Yes,
So if you send a spider spy into the Hobbit kingdom to spy on them, they're going to kill that spider
yes.
just out of hand. Now,
Unless you
if
got some way to trick them into.
that's why the sorcerer spies come up, and that's why they have the shape change spell, so they now look like what you want them to look like.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
it might be beneficial to. Okay, you need the spy to get you through the game, the gate, to move around because they know how to stealth and stuff. You need the sorcerer to do like the magical enhancements to that because of the animosity, and you need the actual like word of conversion um, to inspire the
that's
multitudes
why I came up with the
to
sorcerer
raise.
spy, so the
Yeah.
sorcerer spy can turn into a spider or a hobbit and get through the
Yes,
front gates.
but you can do that once you get to that level and create the sorcerer spy, or you could maybe attach all three of those and move them as a group. They're a
I hadn't thought
party.
about having like smaller
Yeah,
units, like a party of player characters trying to do the D&D
yeah,
stuff. That's not a bad idea.
yeah.
The other thing is,
Because
it,
maybe you could have like the ability to raise to the fourth thing tied to having so many stats already raised. Like so, maybe you have to have at least five or six in
well,
everything
see, this is how
before you
the
can do the
animosity
fourth
table
level.
works.
No,
Every
no,
race,
I mean like getting to the sorcerer spy, you have to have so many god points spent already beyond the starting ones. So you can't get to fourth tier characters until you've enhanced your god so much.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Maybe, but if you look on the animosity table, each race has a definitive reaction toward every other race.
yeah.
Some things they're friendly with, some things they love, like themselves, some things
Hmm.
they hate, and some things they distrust or they're just neutral towards. In order
Hmm.
to um, influence another thing, you have to have the equivalent of, I think, 10 or 15 points of influence higher than what you have. Now, depending on whether it's hate to love to hate in that spectrum, it's either a plus 10, minus 10,
Yeah.
plus 5, minus 5, or 0. So
Yeah,
if you go over to a species that they kind of like you, well, you're already 5 points ahead.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Then maybe you can get in.
It's the difficulty modifier.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Because if you literally had um, two races that hate each other right off the bat, and you try to
yeah,
even walk in the doors, you just gave away, you just threw away whatever that was that
yeah,
tried to walk in there. It just makes sense in
yeah,
this stage of society where there isn't any trade. They don't know who the hell you are except just barely. If you have a,
mm,
a, a positive reaction, then you clearly, oh, it's just hobbits. Don't worry, we like them. Come on, you can come on in.
yeah.
Just because we're elves, we don't mind. We like
Well,
you. Come on in, you little fucker.
you're just short people or tall people.
Right,
You
but
got eight
you got
fucking legs,
you got
man.
the
What the hell's going
Mothman
on
trying
there?
to come into to the gnome city. The gnomes are going to freak out.
Yeah,
Or
that might as well be a monster as far as they're
exactly.
gonna capture one and try to use it to defend their city.
And if you send like the Mothman or something else, they're going to eat you. It's like if you sent like for example, you're playing the rats and you go try to sneak into the cat city.
Yeah,
That rat was never seen again. Or dogs and cats, or the other stereotypical love
yeah,
hate relationships. You got to take that into account. I mean,
yeah.
you can't just walk in. Now, amongst the humans, that's where it's going to get interesting, or the elves, or whatever, because as Jackie and I were talking about the other days, the most spying that goes on is actually up between allied nations.
Mm-hmm.
They just walk in, like they own the place, and then they get all kinds of, information or whatever, and maybe they never do anything nefarious with it, but they're still doing it. They're still doing
Yeah.
the spying. You know, uh,
Well, at the very least, they're like, I didn't have to spend all that time and effort developing new tanks because I just
right,
stole your
right.
designs
Which
and
which surprised some players.
tweak tweak them a little bit.
Your mic is muted. Try plugging it in, unplugging it, or going to your settings and turning it on.
Yeah. That happens.
I was telling somebody, I'm not going to say who, but if you get your technological level high enough uh, through the creation of grand forges and increasing your actual intellect score, then you can start building tanks. And if you get it high enough, you can make nuclear weapons. I doubt that it will get that far, but imagine if you were playing this over the course of 2 years, someone's going to go
Yeah.
that route. They're going to be like, "Yeah, magic's cool, but I want to make tanks and bombs and aircraft and stealth bombers and stuff like that." And
Mhm.
why not? We already have the imagery for things like that with the great picture George made of the biplanes fighting the dragons. That was awesome.
Mhm.
And plus the backstory for the game world. This game playing is actually the prehistory of my post-apocalyptic D&D game, where something really weird and big happened because the gods were screwing around and they screwed up the planet. And we know that they had gotten to high tech and high magic before their god war, and then flooded the planet. And then my players are coming across things like ray guns and high tech gadgets left over from the before times. So it's a
Yeah.
magic gamma world, if you will, game.
Mm. Make world. I can't force magic and gamma together. Okay, you figure it
Magama,
out. The gamma world.
the gamma world.
Sounds like we're going to bam lamb around here now.
Yeah, or something else, but we're not going to talk about that. But
Yeah.
uh,
So
yeah,
so so back to the list of all the buildings, right?
okay.
So we got
We talked about the
city.
cities,
Yeah. So we can city to
castle, or it starts keep.
uh okay, no, city to kingdom.
Fortify. I call it fortified city. How do you fortify it? Do you want to fortify its might, its
Fortify.
defense? Yeah, that's a case by case basis for you, and because there are better ways to do it than waste time building up the walls of the castle. and stuff like that, because you're only going to go so far with that. And how far do you want to go?
Yeah. Um, fortified city.
Uh, or kingdom by linking four cities together.
Okay, so we do that by building four cities in adjacent hexes to each other.
They don't have to necessarily be adjacent within one
Yeah,
hex.
so you can have like four line, like a line
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
a square or a curve or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
Because it's most cities aren't. Oh, hey, there's Raven.
yes, some follow a coast or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Welcome, Raven.
uh, no idea what's going on.
She's
Hey, Raven.
and I sorry I did somehow I pushed the button wrong, Raven.
It's
Forgive
okay.
me. How you doing? Everything?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing good. We talked about the book, and now we're talking about the game. And feel free to jump in and ask any questions. And of course, we will find a way to divert it to talking about cats or Bigfoot. Just for you, we know you've had a rough day.
Yeah.
Yes, I have had a rough day. A very rough day.
Well, pour yourself a strong one and
Oh,
relax.
Raven was going to do that anyway.
Huh?
I know, but it just sounds funny, doesn't it? Or at
Yeah.
least cordial, right?
Oh, I'm never cordial.
I,
Get it right.
I didn't hear what he said. What'd you say?
You're going to do that anyway.
Oh,
Pour yourself a stiff one.
Probably so.
every once in a while, I could go for a stiff one too, but Justin's going to make a gay joke out of it, so I'm just going to.
Just one shadow, just one.
What's
We
up,
know
Grandma? How you doing?
Grandma,
Hi, Grandma.
we know your people. You never have sexual relations with less than 10 people at a time. 10.
No, I don't do any of that. I'm a good boy. Grandma, my bad. I thought.
Say good boy. That's just an ambula here. Cool.
No, oh God, no, don't. I told you the story. Every time I hear that, I see that image on the bus, and I just
That's
wanted
why.
to. I wish I had Well, anyways, Grandma, my bad. I thought last week when I suggested we play 2 weeks in a row in OG's game that I would actually be able to do that, but apparently we're going to have a house full of a whole bunch of people I don't know celebrating Mother's Day on Saturday. So I probably won't be able to participate. I'm going to try and sneak away if you guys are playing, because like I said, I don't know most of these people, and I'm not cooking, so it's like,
Fuck, man.
which is also going to be rough because they'll probably still be here when my Saturday show rolls around at night. Yeah, me too, Grandma. Me too. And I got books coming. I finally got verification on my tracking number for Outgunned Adventure, and of course, as soon as that happened, they decided to launch another Kickstarter, which is a superhero game. And you know me in superhero games, I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I can't afford it, so I probably won't back it unless there's like a huge delay before they actually want my money, which I don't think they're going to do.
That's the
Outgunned Adventure
Sunday.
is
No, Mother's Day, Sunday.
right.
Yeah. My mom
Okay.
asked me.
I'm assuming that the TTRPG has a completely different context when it's regard to your hubby, and if not, just humor me and say, yeah, we, quality time, right?
Yeah. So I got roped into that with my mom. She's like, "What are you getting me for Mother's Day?" I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "I know what you could do. You could order me Chinese food for dinner tonight. We can all have dinner."
Chinese food sounds good. We're having lasagna.
Yeah. $95 later.
Grandma, I would just settle for being a multi-millionaire. I'm not greedy. Um, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta give up on these fucking fake Hallmark holidays, man. Mother's
You need
Day.
to honor your
Father's
mother for putting
Day.
up with you.
Not eating tacos on
Be
Tuesday.
grateful
Like,
she brought you into the world.
Are you sure about that, Raven?
$95, Raven.
Maybe he was hatched. I don't know. You know,
My my
aliens can
my
drop
uh,
them
my,
off.
my mother used to have an expression. He wasn't born. Bird shit him on the fence post, and the sun hatched him out.
My mom used to always use he's a blooming idiot. My father jerked off in a flower pot, and I'm a blooming idiot. That's what she used to say.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
I am sorry you had to hear that, Dungeon Minister, but I'm certain you've heard
He's
worse.
laughing.
I know he is. He's a great guy.
Oh my God.
Somebody's that too.
Well, that explains some things.
$95 later.
There must be some good Chinese
It
food.
was
I'm saying.
mediocre.
No
I,
shit.
I actually went to
It would have been
Costco.
cheaper and better if I'd gone down to the mall and got us all freaking those, like, those pick 4 items or pick 3 items and a noodle or a
Yeah, I hate
rice.
that.
The
If I go to a
bourbon
Chinese
chicken is
restaurant,
damn good. I love me some bourbon chicken.
never had that. I don't know why and when they decided to take sweet and sour chicken off every menu, off every Chinese restaurant in California, maybe elsewhere. I used to prefer
Sweet,
that over orange chicken, but now I
sweet
can't find it.
the sweet and sour. That's the one with the red sauce.
Yeah, the plum sauce.
It's not a plum sauce. It's made from ketchup.
Never looked like ketchup to me. Maybe that's the way it is in Canada.
Plum
Here,
sauce sounds so much more exquisite, though.
No,
Other than ketchup.
it's literally. 'Cause I worked at a Chinese food factory.
but again,
With
that's
it's
in
like
Canada.
that red. No. It's the same recipe. It's the base ingredient is ketchup. Then you pour that like a big, not a bottle. Like you get a
Well,
bag.
that's weird
You get a
because like
bag full of ketchup. You pour it into the wok. Then you add vinegar and some SMG or GMS or whatever,
MSG.
that one, and then a few other things, some
Which is weird
lemon
because
juice.
here in California, you okay? I want it, Grandma, because we also have a sweet and sour sauce that's like yellow. It tastes the same.
Yeah. The lemon sauce is not the same as the sweet and sour sauce.
We
It's
just call
made
it sweet and sour.
it's made using lemons
Oh, okay.
instead of ketchup. But that's what gives it that yellow, that red color, is ketchup.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
just diluted with a bunch of other stuff and
It's got to be pretty
caramelized.
diluted because it really
Yeah.
doesn't look like ketchup. But
No, it doesn't. But
okay,
it was, I'd be there, freaking making the deep fried this or whatever, deep fried that.
I
And
went
the guy
to
next to me would be making that stuff.
Costco and they've also got an orange chicken, like frozen chicken that you cook the chicken and then in the oven and then you douse it with the sauce and it's pretty good.
I just need to say something to Grandma. You don't need to pray for me. I have the purest of souls who ever exist.
Oh, shut the front door. Deep fried deviled eggs. Oh dear God. Deviled eggs are my son's absolute favorite food that I make, and uh, deep frying them.
But do you batter them
Apparently, Grandma's
first?
going to be writing me a cookbook because I don't have a real grandma, so I'm going to adopt you, and you can hand me down all your secret recipes, and I swear I'll only hand them down to Jackie.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good. Wow.
So you know how to make deviled eggs, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Batter them and then deep fry them. You might want to put them on a skewer. Might make it easier. Oh.
Yeah,
Ask
because I'm
Grandma.
picturing you like you make one deviled egg and then you just cover it with the other part of the egg. So you've got
No. Skewer it on a skewer,
Mhm.
like you would making a shish kebab or whatever.
Mhm.
Put it into an egg wash, roll it in the crumbs, and put it in the deep fryer. and then pull it out.
That's weird because we really like our
I'm assuming that's how you do it.
we really like our deviled eggs
Aspirin.
like chilled.
Yeah, you'll have to chill them first because that's how you keep them from like
Tearing
breaking up
apart and
in
stuff.
the egg wash and the batter with the crumbs or whatever.
You should do a video, Grandma. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, you'll get 1 million subs. It's not.
I'm just assuming that's how you could go about doing that. I'm just making that clear. Like I'm just
Oh,
like
you know what
picturing the
I'm picturing.
process.
You know how you cut the deviled eggs sideways, so they lay flat.
Yeah,
I'm picturing cutting them the other way in half, and then just taking the two halves and filling it the center with the mixture.
yeah,
Egg
yeah,
yolk.
and putting the whole egg back together,
Yes.
and then wrapping that in bacon,
Ooh.
and then battering it, and then deep frying it.
And then you die and you go to heaven. Isn't that how it works? Uh, Dungeon Minister. Is that like the cheat code to get into heaven?
Well, I'm assuming you then serve it with a cheese sauce.
Ooh.
Oh.
Cheers, Raven.
Yeah. So, Raven, if it's not too much of an imposition, what is making you so miserable on this fun day?
Well, I discovered that somebody shot one of my cats in the leg. He's got 3 pieces of shrapnel from probably a BB gun. But he broke his leg up by the hip. Um, so when I take him to the vet today, all they want to do is push for $1,000 amputation rather than cast it and try to let it heal. Well, I simply didn't have the money for that, and I just said no. I said let's put a cast on it, and let me see if I can work some magic on it. Magic as in just to let him be in a confined area, let him rest, let him heal.
You're gonna summon a demon. Oh, Shadow knows already.
No. If I summon anything, it would be an angel. But anyway, so he had. Make a long story short, when I went and picked him up, uh, I gave him a crap ton of money for doing this cast. The cast was off before I even hit my driveway and got him home. And yeah, it's a mess.
Did you go back and?
No, I called them. They were closing when I was there.
Yeah.
They were closing, but I called them, and the staff is still there. The doctor was gone, so now they want me to go back tomorrow morning at 9:00.
Yeah, you just gave him a crap ton of money. He's going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and right now they made the
Hut.
cast. The cast isn't anything more than a bunch of freaking gauze and that stretchy stuff that sticks to itself that you can buy at any drugstore.
Yes.
Wrapping stuff. That's all it is.
Well, now you have the recipe. You can make your own and go into business.
Yeah. And they made it too long. They made it to where it was longer than the rest of his legs. So when he went to get up out of the carrier, he raised the other 3 legs up because they made it too long. They just did a crappy job of this cast. It's not even actually a cast. Like I said, it's just gauze and tape.
Yeah.
I could have done that. I pay $300 for a bunch of gauze and tape.
Well,
anyway, so
you're paying because the
expertise.
It's animals and they gotta actually like align that shit, but it's like bullshit because vets are way overpriced for everything.
I could have done that at home. The only thing I couldn't have done at home is the X-rays. I don't mind paying for the X-rays. I don't even mind paying for the office visit. But that's some bullshit. So when I call, of course, the doctor just left right after I left, and so it's just the staff there that's there to file and do basic office work. So bring him in at 9:00 tomorrow morning. Jesus Christ, you have any idea what that entails? What I had to do this morning to get through just to get him to that office. They need vets that make house calls because these animals, man, they see that carrier and more than half of them, whenever they see that, they're gone. They freak the hell out because they hate to ride in the car. Cats do not do well in cars at all. Most
Yeah,
of them.
because they can feel the motion, but they
They usually end up throwing up, and they're so stressed out by the time they get there to the vet. Dogs are a little different. There's a lot of dogs that like to ride, in the car or the truck or whatever.
Chewy loves it.
But
Chewy freaking loves going in the car.
yeah, cats not so much. So it's traumatizing, and that's why when they see that carrier come out, they're like, "Oh, I had to find him. We were late this morning because he went and hid when he saw the carrier come out. A bunch of them went and hid. This place was so quiet. Now I know what to do if I need a little peace and quiet around here. Just bring a carrier out and stick it right here in the middle of the living room. I won't see a cat for hours. Anyway,
I never mind. I'm not going to say what I was thinking.
you probably shouldn't, but do it anyway. Go ahead.
Oh, why not just leave the carrier in the living room 24/7?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
yeah
I think I'll do that. That's what I need to do.
they'll all find new homes on their own, and you won't have to worry about it anymore.
Especially before getting on, video like this or doing my radio show. So, yeah, that's what I need to do from now on.
They'll get used to it.
You wouldn't think a lame cat could get away from you that fast and hide that well, but he did. They're very resourceful. Yeah. I don't know what to do. They just keep pushing for this amputation, and I don't think it's necessary.
Grandma says that's not an effing cast, and you got ripped off. That's why I
Yeah,
said the vet's now at the Jiggly Hut or on his way to Vegas,
Yeah,
if not both.
the Jiggly Hut in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, what about this? They showed me the brake. The brake is up by the hip, and it's an angular brake, and there's a space in between, and they just need to put like a pin to get it like this. It's like this, and so they said, well, we don't do that here, but here's this surgeon, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well, can you give me an idea of a ballpark figure then of what you're talking about financially? They're like $5,000 to $7,000. I'm like, what?
You know how many cats you could buy for that much money? Hundreds of cats.
There's got to be another way. I haven't
fucking cat.
figured out yet what to do, but
Yeah,
I will. He's a young cat.
doesn't matter.
He's only 3, going on 4. When I found out about the shrapnel, now that's a whole other story. That he doesn't go far. They don't go far, so that means that it's. I think I know exactly who did it. Then that's what they're going to have. God have mercy on them, because I certainly won't. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Some people are just fucking weird.
Assholes. Some people are just assholes.
Yeah, Shadow.
They see it.
Hey, I've never shot a cat. When our
This
bunnies got attacked, he was willing to come out to put the poor survivors down. They had no legs left. Dog climbed our fence to get at the hutches. Yikes. And rabbits are not quiet, despite what people think.
Oh my God, that's terrible, Grandma. Oh God. Nice. Yeah, I can't stand to see animal suffering at all. Anyway, it just.
I do not support animal suffrage, though.
About said suffrage.
Yeah.
Or
I
uplifting.
Or uplifting.
Yeah, I've been drinking.
I do not want them to be uplifted or get the vote. I'm absolutely opposed to both of those things.
Just give me a break. I can't even talk. I'm so upset.
You know that's funny, though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you can always come over here and vent, Raven. Even if we're just gonna, throw in some terrible jokes.
I would expect nothing less.
The
from
bare
the two of
minimum
you.
price of admission. Just saying,
You deserve it.
other channels,
I deserve it, yeah, but he doesn't. He's the sweetest little cat, and he doesn't go far. I mean, they don't go very far. They're just right here in the woods. There's guys that used to work for my neighbor that passed away, and their work equipment is parked up here with the house because he owned the business. And there's nobody currently living in the house, but they're certainly going in the house, and they're making a collection of booze bottles out here in the yard on the corner. I saw that. He would have to fit if he saw that.
So you're thinking, hey, what's up, off grid?
Off grid.
I'm that's the very first thing that went through my mind. I suspected them of doing that several years ago before I knew the owner, before I
So
knew
you're gonna make
Patrick.
them a
And
special batch of brownies and bring it over?
no, um, no, I thought um, I shouldn't say because I'm being recorded on a public open channel. I shouldn't say that I'm going to do it. Really, not that any of them are watching, but it's just
Oh,
let's just say they might have an expensive repair to make on there. Yeah, might have some expensive repairs in their future. That's all.
And off grid says, hi all, I'm building an armored sentinel for 40K while listening. Raven, maybe your neighbors will allow you to out carriers in their gardens to stop them from defecating where they garden.
Mm. There's no gardening going on up there, and thing is, I have went to all of the neighbors and and said, if there's ever a problem with one of the cats, they don't often go off that far. I mean, I'm up here on this hill basically by myself, and I know the closest neighbor didn't do it. He loves cats, so it wasn't him. I think it's these worker guys behind me.
Whoa,
But
whoa, whoa, Grandma, whoa.
all the rest of them, I have said, just call me. I will come with a carrier. I will remove them. And if they do any damage, I will pay for it. Uh, whatever.
Grandma, I
And they
have to
all,
disagree. I mean, if you catch your cat, racking up phone bills and ordering off Amazon, it might be time to take that cat out to the woodshed. Just saying.
well, you know what I mean. They tear
Right.
up the
No, no, I
trash or something like that. They did cancel my PayPal card that one day. That was crazy. I had left the window open on my laptop, and when I left, they stepped on the keyboard and
Hey,
somehow canceled my
they keep
debit card. And when
calling me, okay?
they have called you before too.
Like, what the shit? I don't know.
I'm walking on my cell phone.
meow,
Yes, I know.
meow,
Crazy.
meow,
Is Raven okay?
meow.
But they really did. They canceled
One
my
meow for
card, and
yes,
so I
two
get some.
meows for no.
3 meows for I've already eaten her face.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's terrible. But they really did it. I
They
got
really
up
will
to
do it
pay, and
too.
my card wouldn't work. And I'm like, I know there's money on this card. This can't be happening. There's something wrong with your machine because I know there's money on this card. And then I'm like, okay, fine. So I call PayPal. I have to pull. I had a whole
PayPal?
cart full of shit. I mean,
Your bag?
like a once a month shopping trip. It was huge, heaping. So I just pull the card. I go around, to the side, and she gets the person behind me, and I'm standing there. And the PayPal
Be right back.
attendant says to me, "He goes, well, you canceled this card like 12 minutes ago." I'm like, the hell I did. I'm here at the store shopping. I never canceled my card. What do you mean? Are you sure? Double check this. Da, 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 da. And they did, and sure enough, that card was canceled. I'm like, well, I didn't cancel it. Can you reinstate it, please? And she's like, well, no, once it's canceled, it's in the system. We can't do anything about it. That number is now rendered, invalid. What am I supposed to do? I'm sorry, ma'am. We'll get another card out to you, but it'll be 7 to 10 days in the mail, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay. I get home and there's one of the cats laying on the laptop. And I'm like, how did you do this? And I had left the window open and they just stepped on keys and they somehow canceled that card. That's the only explanation. So now when I leave, I make sure that I don't have PayPal window open on my
PayPal, not your bag?
laptop.
Yeah.
Huh? I don't have a
No,
Mac.
bag.
You say Mac?
PayPal is a middleman service. If you're using PayPal instead of a bank account, you're getting billed more.
Well, I do use that in play. I got fed up with banks and their charges.
No, you're getting charged more by using PayPal. A lot more, like 30% more. Yeah.
Really? Well, I don't care. It's instantaneous. I don't have to wait 3 to 5 days for bullshit. I had paid for something, and I was there in line when the bank opened to make a deposit because I was like 79 cents over.
Yeah.
And wanted to make that deposit, make sure that got in so that that check wouldn't bounce. They bounced that check. They held it till afternoon to post it, even though I was there with that deposit. They did not post that deposit till after they deducted everything out, and they charged me $35
Yeah,
for being 79 cents over. And I said, "Fuck that! That's bullshit." And I said, "I'm done. That's it. Close my account."
Yeah.
They tried to say, "You have to pay this fine." I'm like, "No, I don't, and I'm not going to. Sue me. Go ahead, take me to
Yeah.
court. I don't care."
I would have gone to a different
Yeah.
bank, but and then just said that's exactly why. But no, you should have called the Swift service because that's bank fraud. If you,
I didn't know about. I've never heard of this service
Swift,
before.
yeah,
What is it?
Swift. It's
Swift?
the international exchange all Western banks are on. It's the thing
Oh
that
yeah.
allows them to transfer money back and forth. And if they didn't cash that check right away when you gave it to them, and they billed you for it, that's bank fraud.
Yeah, they
Wow,
didn't.
that's rough, Grandma.
I was there before the bank opened. I was the first person to
Yeah.
do business that day. I was in line. I got up extra early in the morning to make sure I was there, so that got in, and they still screwed me over that way. And I said, "I'm done."
Now, if
Thank
you'd
you.
used the teller, the machine, that thing scans it and it recognizes it, even though it's technically held for the 5 days, because that's like the actual process. It scans it and registers it immediately.
Mm. Hmm. Well, that was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't had a bank account since.
And
I didn't know
and
that.
most banks offer what's called photo depositing now,
Mm-hmm.
which means you take a picture of the check
Yep.
with your phone, and then you flip the check over and you take a picture of the back using their in phone app, because they have a special camera with a bracket that tells you like you're too close, you're too far. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that with my refund check from the
Yeah.
government because they didn't
And
know
then
bank
you
account.
just
I
like
had to do all that.
write void on it or write deposited and the date. I usually put a little tear in it as well. And you're supposed to keep it for 14 days, but they recommend you keep it up to a year. Just
Ah.
in case, like, oh, we never got that. And it's like, no, right here. I cashed it on this day. It's written on the thing. And they always have that instruction on the app. And then you can just like every check comes in and you just deposit it right when you open it and put it in your little filing system. A shoebox.
Nice.
But yeah,
Filing
I
system.
hate them. Yeah. Credit
Union, PayPal, yeah.
PayPal isn't a credit union, and they're a notorious scamming service. PayPal is very famous for we don't like you, so we're just seizing everything in your account, and because our terms of service say we can, they'll do that. They'll close your account, and if you got like $4,000 in there, they'll just take it.
I've never heard of that before. Really? Well, I've never had $4,000 in my account either. So
They've done it with a lot more than that, but like I'm just using that number as an example. It's just
That's not cool.
it's shifty as all fuck, but you know.
Well, they've changed. At first, I've been with PayPal since 2007,
Yeah.
and they were always really good about if you got taken by a scam artist.
They're okay with
They
that.
were always really good about refunding your money right away. And now it takes up to 15 days for them to do a full investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like PayPal. Whenever I try to like pay someone through PayPal, it takes for freaking ever because I have to transfer the money from my bank to my PayPal account, and then which is like instant. But then it'll take 5 days for PayPal to pay the guy I want to pay. I'm like, you got the money in a blink of an eye, but now you got to hold on to it for 5 days.
Yeah, for interest, and like they own that Honey plugin, which is like all kinds of scammy. So the way Honey's absolutely free, except for in the back end where they they steal money from affiliate programs. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you know what an affiliate program is, right? Like, so if you're watching like a YouTuber and they'll have like, we've been talking about this book all thing, right? So Shadow could set up an affiliate account and have the link in the description affiliate to buy the book we talked about earlier on Amazon. And if you clicked it, he would get a small portion from you purchasing that book
Hmm.
from Amazon's end. He could set that up. And as long as he gets 3 sales every 90 days or so, they keep that account going. Um, which he probably wouldn't on this show because it's not popular enough. But it's just an example. You can do it with anything on Amazon. And if, like, say he put the link for the book, and you clicked on it to buy that book, and you decide to also buy a television at the same time, you get a cut of that television as well.
Oh.
So obviously, a small ticket item led you to buy a big ticket item, so you get a lot more money. But it doesn't. That doesn't really matter. What matters is Honey, which is owned by PayPal, would steal that. The browser plugin would go in and change his link to that royalty generation from the affiliate link to them in the background without telling you.
That's not cool.
Yeah. So, well, it was really fun when they would hire that they would pay YouTubers to advertise their product, so their audiences could not be giving that affiliate, like when they bought things from those YouTubers affiliates things, Honey was getting it instead. So we'll pay you a one-time payment of like $1,000, but the 5,000 you would have gotten over the next year from your affiliate programs, we're just going to take that behind your back without telling you. Yeah. But yeah, affiliate marketing is apparently something very easy to get into and pretty passive if you're smart about it. I should really look into it. Oh man, that's yeah, it is a dirty move.
Yeah, off grid. It sounds like you've got yourself your own little friggin' wild kingdom up there.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I've got one squirrel in my neighborhood. One, literally
Yeah.
one. It's the same little bastard. Keeps teasing my dog. And well, we do have three owls. It's weird. They late at night you can hear them from three different directions, from three different like lampposts or trees, talking to each other. It's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have that here too.
And I haven't seen a hawk or an eagle or anything like that. We've got crows and we've got whatever the little birds are that they eat.
I got lots
Keep
of.
finding them in my
I got a
yard.
couple hawks.
What the
Piles
fuck are
of
you
feathers.
replying to?
Not far from me, there is a place where there are some bald eagles, and people go to this one highway and they pull over and can watch them. They've got like cameras set up. There's even it's linked to a YouTube channel where
Same
you can
here,
watch
off
them
grid.
on
Cash is
YouTube.
king.
Yeah, Grandma, the way you get serious about your social media is by deleting it.
Yeah, the only reason I have Facebook is because of the chat room for the radio station. Otherwise, I would have never created a Facebook.
How are you doing with switching over to YouTube? Is that's still on plan, or are you back to?
Yeah, it is, and I just got a new um, banner art and stuff done on Monday.
Okay. Sweet.
Got a logo. Got that
Yeah,
done.
because we'll start sending people over to watch your show as soon as there's a show to watch. You know, we
Yeah.
talk about 1-2 radio, but you know,
Raven's Rabbit Hole YouTube channel is like something I can link to. That's a stable link
mhm.
in the. Well,
Yeah.
definitely your you've got the wrench on my YouTube channel. You ever want to just throw that in the sidebar, you can.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true.
um,
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Thank you.
And you also got in Shadows. I have no doubt he would have a problem with you sending the link to your homepage there. And because those videos don't come down, people can go watch the old videos when you refer back to we interviewed Joe Weirdo 6 months ago. You can go back and watch that video after this interview with Sam Psychopath.
I have Murphy on video. Murphy's the cat that I've been referring to here all night. I did a video where I went out on the spring equinox and balanced some eggs, and I had a level that you could see on a brick, and then I did these. Finally, got the 3 eggs to go, and stood back, and then here comes Murphy, jumps up on the table and just rolls them off, and they just crack and smash all over the place.
And that's why you have bad karma. Boy, that's why you got
No, that's why his name is Murphy, because Murphy is like Murphy's law.
Yeah.
You know, if it can go wrong, it will.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like everything I try to do.
Yeah, Grandma. Everything you just listed there are like some of the main reasons I need to get the hell out of here. Just it, it's so absolutely un-American what they're trying to do here.
What are they trying to do?
Just all kinds of stupid stuff. Like I was telling you guys, you know how they went door to door to find out if we had a dog, if our dog was registered, and if our dog had been fixed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know that's just like one of the low tier, you know, messed up things they've done. But there's like a long list of things they do here that just they don't do anywhere else. And the more people that leave here in response to that, will hopefully stave that off and not like bring it to other places. But there's always a chance of that. But I think for the most part, most of the people who wanted to get out of here have already done so.
They were trying to tax Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne after they left California and went back.
Yeah. They're trying to do the exit tax, and like I don't have any money, so I've never had any money. So how can you tax me for something? Well, as a matter of fact, you guys owe me money.
That's actual. Isn't that like a federal crime? Like you have the right to move around the country.
It is.
Without,
It is.
Yeah.
You have the right, but no one will, call them on it or do anything about it because who do you charge with that? I guess
The
and
senator,
the governor. You mean?
I mean,
Yeah, both of them.
if you have to have a tax like that,
everyone above
just saying.
everyone above the town council level should have gotten criminal charges from the feds. But you know,
If you have to tax people from leaving your state because so many people are leaving your state, that should be telling you something.
Well, yeah, that's their last gasp, and you know.
yeah. But you gotta understand, it should tell them. What it does tell them, because they're fucking broken, is that there's too many white supremacists. That's what the message they get.
Oh,
Yeah, if they started doing that off grid, we would our streets would be paved with gold, cartel gold, but still.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know. This world gets crazy. Just when you think it can't get any crazier, you know, it does. And it's like, where is the ceiling on this? Is there one? I don't think there is. There really isn't. It just keeps getting.
Well, you know my solution: nuke Israel.
So we live in interesting times, don't we, gentlemen?
Oh crap! Time to charge.
Yeah.
My battery is dying.
We should wrap up in 15 or
16 minutes. Yeah. We've been here for 3 hours, but I knew Raven was down, and she's one of us, so hopefully we cheered you up a little bit.
Oh yeah, you did. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I got to my neck of it and vent a little bit. So thank you for listening.
Oh, they absolutely are, Grandma. They absolutely are.
Be better by tomorrow. I want to go back to making cat jokes. So
Yeah, don't. Yeah, might be a little soon.
The,
It's. I don't know what to do. I
you
really
got
don't.
you got 14 hours.
Nice.
I better drink up. Oh God,
Uh,
14 hours. So it'll be 8 more of drinking, and then 6 to sober up. Right.
You would think it would be the other way around, but okay. Grandma said,
I suggest you alternate. It might be healthier for your liver.
Well, I've always said sobriety does not behoove me. So
"This one's for you, Raven." Grandma's sending you hugs.
oh
Taco.
oh, thank you, thank you. I see it now. Thanks, thanks.
Yeah, we're all one big dysfunctional happy family, except when we're not.
Yeah. And I don't want to be part of those moments because that's when you're having gay sex, Shadow.
No, it's never happened. And you know that.
That's a lie. You know that's a sin, bearing false witness, Shadow.
I'm not lying about that. I'm literally not lying about that. It's just funny, but um, we're
It's just funny he even knows the 10 Commandments at
That's like
all.
the ninth.
Any
That's
of
like the
them.
ninth one, or maybe the eighth one. One of the other.
I'm impressed.
if the dungeon minister was still here, he might be, but I assume he would have chimed in by now. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain he had to go get his holy water doused Q-tips.
Yeah. For listening to you talk about all the gay sex you're gonna do.
No, that never happens because that never happens. But I gotta say, I was bummed this last Sunday when we went to church because we're like always late, and it's never my fault. Although this time it was kind of my fault because I thought I was waiting for Jackie to get into the car, but he was already in the car. He snuck past me, and we got there late, and I was like, "Oh man!" Because they started doing this thing where they've got this big. It looks like a big handful of like spaghetti. It literally looks like they're holding a handful of spaghetti uncooked, but it's
Yeah.
doused. They douse it in holy water and use it to spray everybody with the holy water, which I thought was fun because you can kind of see the people who've been charged with doing that. They got this little smirk on their face, like I'm throwing water at these people, and they're loving it, you know. And I get there, and the seat is I could see little drops where the holy water would have hit me if my family and I had been there in time,
Yeah.
but we missed it. I'm like, oh man, now I got to do it manually with the cistern or whatever they call it, the font at the front of the church, which we always do on the way out. And I no longer get zapped when I touch the water, so I know I'm on the right. It was literally the like I think it was like the first time I did it. It was a static electricity thing. That's the story I'm going with. But it was when I stuck my hand in the water, people around me could hear the spark of the holy water and me touching it. And I'm like,
What does that tell you,
that I need to
Shadow?
go more often, and now it doesn't happen anymore. And so there.
Yeah. It was Satan entering your
Oh
body.
my God, that's so funny. How
Mhm.
embarrassing for you.
Yeah. But from but now I have several vials of holy water just in case certain people visit, and then I could put that in their drink or their food, or I could just splash them, with it if they start getting out of hand. Um, you know, like this weekend, there's going to be 20 people here, and the meal they chose was lasagna.
Oh, the best meal after pizza.
Do you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, Grandma.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the trick is to not buy a lasagna tray. You got to go down to the dollar store and buy the square turkey roasting tray.
Okay, you did hear that there's going to be 20 people.
It's why you buy the square turkey roasting tray.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
I
idea.
would need 4 of them.
No.
Yeah. They're about a foot and a half by a little bit
No,
more
no,
than a
no,
foot
no.
and a half.
You get the one that is like 2 feet by 3 feet.
They don't sell those at our dollar store. They do have the really large turkey, pan. But
Yeah.
again, even the largest one. If I made the largest one, I would literally need to make. And I'm not cooking, thank God, that it's not me cooking. But
Oh, okay. Okay.
I would
Don't
need
worry
four
about
of
it.
them. We would need four of them to feed
Yeah.
everybody because
No, no, no. You make the good lasagna for you, right? That's that one tray, and then you go down to the aisle, the frozen food section. You get the one with the peas and the carrots in it
thanks,
for everyone
Alfredo.
else.
That's called shepherd's pie.
No, no, no. They make the vegetarian lasagna. It's got peas and carrots in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
Wow.
I mean, by
it's like
scratch,
this
you mean
thick.
making the pasta?
No, you just go get hot dogs and hamburgers for everybody
Grandma,
else.
do you mean making the pasta from scratch? Because that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll buy the box
You,
lasagna noodles, boil them, and
you get a pasta roller. That shit's easy to make.
well, thank God I'm not cooking Saturday.
Yeah, 'cause then it's just making it's mixing
So
some fucking.
I don't know if
flour
they're
and water.
ordering it from a restaurant or what they're doing, but you got to admit, if you're having a family dinner of 20 people, lasagna isn't really the
It is exactly what you make.
for 20 people. Like I could see it if it's like maybe 10. You know what I mean?
Especially if you're smart and you make the ricotta from scratch.
Yeah, ricotta from scratch. That's how I
Yeah.
do it too.
Fucking,
Uh,
you go and get yourself.
Good.
Go down to the nearest dairy. Spend the drive out to the cattle farm, where Bubba lives, and get them to give you like 20 gallons of freaking cream.
yeah, that's
And you
gonna
bring
happen.
it back and you put it in a chili pot
Maybe
with some lemon
when
and salt, and you let it simmer for like 40 hours. Not quite that long, but you gotta render it down. Basically, that's it. How do you make it?
I do it a totally different way. I get Philadelphia cream cheese, an egg, and cottage cheese, and you set it out on the counter and let it get to be room temperature, and then you mix all of that together and then put it in the fridge immediately,
Okay.
and
Okay,
then
so
use it the
the
next
method
day.
I said is how you actually make ricotta cheese, like from scratch. That's the actual recipe.
Yeah.
No, yours is like some weird freaking home remedy
Well,
thing.
mine's not like from the farm
Well,
scratch, but
it's cream. A
Philly cream. You have Philly cream
no,
cheese
no,
in
no, no.
Canada.
Cream, like
Yeah, do you have Philadelphia cream
cream is
cheese?
raw milk.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking if you have Philadelphia cream cheese in
Yes.
Canada.
They
You
have
do
that
have it?
everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know.
uh,
Some
Grandma, I'm not
different.
cooking anything.
Yes.
I might make breakfast.
What you should do is make those fucking bacon wrapped deep fried deviled eggs.
I will do that when I don't have to share them with 20 other people.
Well, you just make like 2 or 3 for yourself. Don't tell anyone you're making them.
Yeah.
Not even Jackie.
Raven makes the 70s hack. Okay.
That's how I learned. I didn't know. I mean, I don't have access to the dairy farm to go get the cream raw.
Well,
like
you
you
can
do,
buy
but
the
Nice,
whole milk
Alfred.
from the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make things more complicated for Shadow because it's fun that way.
I like feta and cottage cheese. And yeah.
Grandma says Justin is telling you the right way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Salt, lemon, slow simmer.
Last time I made deviled eggs, Grandma and everybody else, I made. I want to
any
say 40,
citrus.
I made 48 individual deviled eggs, and between Jackie and I, they didn't last a week.
Yeah. Well, if you make them like we discussed earlier, take a picture. I want to see that
Yeah.
because I ain't making no fucking deviled eggs.
Yeah, I might try that. I've got some shopping to do this weekend. I might get some ingredients to try that.
You might have to hold the bacon on there with a toothpick though.
That's what I was thinking, or something. I've got these metal things for putting to wrap bacon around my filet mignons, but I've only got 2 of them. So
How long are they?
they're these weird, like they look like big metal letter A's, but not pointed at the end, but rounded letter A's, if you will. And there's like just so you could hold on to one part and stick the 2 legs into the the steak, the whole bacon. We've wrapped it around. Um,
Okay.
but I don't know if that would be if there's going to be a difference between metal and wood in the oil.
The
I would
oil
say
might be worse.
metal might
The
be
oil,
worse, or wood might be.
yeah. No, wood's fine in oil most of the time.
I just got to make sure you get it all out when you.
Yeah, well, if it's a toothpick, you just slide it out. I was thinking the kebab skewers earlier. That way, you don't put it all the way in. You can dip it in and then pull it out with the same
Yeah, that's
skewer.
kind of what I was thinking too. Especially if I
Yeah.
do them the other way, so I can skewer it through the top and the bottom of the egg. You know.
No, just come in from the side. That way, you can also pin the bacon on there as well.
Yeah. But I think it would be.
And if you make your half eggs, wrap the bacon around, skewer through the side, then use that to dip into the wash and then and roll into the
Yeah, I just figured it would be easier, uh,
batter
if you cut them in half the
breadcrumbs.
other way, to sort of spin them and them not fall apart.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, but I don't see you being able to hold the bacon on that way.
Well, if you wrap enough strips around it, like do it twice.
Yeah, just use the whole strip instead of half a strip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that way,
maybe.
gravity
Well,
and stuff.
try one of each, right? And what one works better,
I'll
do the
just fry
rest.
the white part. Oh, yeah. We were talking
Oh,
about Scotch eggs the other night. Those sound really, really good.
yeah. That's when you make a burger with an egg inside of it, basically.
I was going to ask you. Okay, so what is a Scotch egg?
You basically make like a hard boiled egg or whatever. Then you wrap it in ground beef, from what I understand, and then deep fry it.
Mm,
This is the best I've been
okay.
able to understand from this recipe. I haven't looked it up or tried it.
Well, see, I already put crumbled bacon in the egg mix that I put inside the deviled egg. Because the way I'm picturing it is you've got a whole egg wrapped in bacon that's been deep fried versus like just half the egg.
I think she does half the egg,
Mm-hmm.
but we're modifying the recipe here to make it
I mean, because
more.
when I eat a deviled egg, I just pop the thing in my mouth anyways.
Yeah,
I like Jackie's like taking 2, 3 bites, and I'm like, what do you think? We don't have more. Just freaking one egg, one bite. It's that simple.
yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe two.
I usually take it in 3 bites myself, but
Nope,
yeah.
nope. I want to make sure.
Yeah, he always. You got to remember, Shadow's used to having things in his mouth.
I was just
Yeah,
waiting
no,
for
no
something.
kidding. You can do better. Come on.
That one had no fat on it whatsoever, man. Unlike what you're used to having in your mouth.
Pardon?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Sorry, you should say.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Want me to turn it up?
Yeah, I know you like getting fucked, but I'm not interested, bro.
I
Keep
know,
telling
I
you
know, I
that.
know. We just don't like each other that way. It's fine. You use ground sausage, not hamburger. Yeah, I really don't do well with ground sausage for some reason, and I just know that.
You know, it's like mostly pork with it's ground pork with seasoning. That's all pretty much it is.
What do you call it? I'm certain that tomorrow or Saturday's lasagna is going to be the kind with hamburger in it, and I don't like sausage in it either, but hamburger like no, that's if you're going to do it, at least do it right, or if you're going to bastardize it, do it the way I do it. Instead of sausage, I use pepperoni, so it's basically just a big freaking mozzarella pasta pizza with no bread, except that's the garlic bread on the side.
No,
You don't put hamburger in your lasagna.
you're weird.
Recipe I have is a combination of half and half sausage and half hamburger.
No, what you could do is like take an actual sausage and slice it up, like cook it, slice it up, and then put that down because
That
that's
sounds
what they
good
would
too.
have done.
That sounds good. Spam is
Oh,
way better than people have made it out to seem over the
spam
years.
is evil.
It's a bad rap. It's one of the best meats in a can. Just saying.
Well, yeah, well at that
I
level,
always see the Monty Python skit about spam. Isn't spam?
yeah.
Or do you want
If your
what's
metric is
spam?
in a
What's
can,
spam?
yes, it's the best meat in a can.
No, it's the second best. The best is corned beef hash, in my opinion.
Maybe.
I love corned beef hash.
Do you count fish as a meat?
No, because I can eat it on Meatless Friday.
Yeah.
But it is a meat.
I understand, but it,
If you
Meat is the flesh of another
if you
creature.
count it as an
You know,
animal,
that kind of go far
if you
wide in
count
its
if you
definition,
count
but
it as a meat, it would be sardines, anchovies, tuna, other fish-based products, then spam or corned beef hash. You can get
uh,
a whole chicken in a can though.
the corned beef hash is
corned
good.
beef hash is the
I like
bomb.
that.
Yeah,
Just saying,
it's served with a sunny side up or over an easy egg.
you can get a whole chicken in a can though. So.
Yes, you can. If you
And,
take
and
out
they
all the bones, sure.
and they aren't that bad.
No,
They had a weird taste.
I think Swanson makes a canned chicken breast, you know, chopped up or whatever in a can that we use for certain dishes when we're in a hurry. And I really like tuna, but I can only make tuna salad like 3 or 4 times a year. I don't know why.
I'm not a tuna guy, but I do like me some sardines.
Am I reading this right? Barbecued squirrel is great too. Raven, don't be angry, but I can attest. Cat tastes terrible. No. Really? Oh my god. Okay.
If the ground sausage is too greasy, add some oats to it to soak it up. I don't eat oats. I heard they're really 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 bad for you somewhere, so I don't eat them. They're
Fried
No,
pickles
oats aren't that bad for you. Horse is okay. Yes, horse is okay.
oh
and gator tail.
oh yeah. I hear
Oh my gosh, you're such an eccentric
goat's
medium.
good. Goat is really good. It's way better than you think. It's very similar to certain cuts of pork.
I prefer lamb.
Shark steaks. Wow. Okay. Horse is okay. Yeah. Wow. You have some.
I've never
Yeah.
had shark, sadly.
Yeah,
Ostrich.
I didn't
might
know
have-
you
Ostrich
did
is great.
that.
I, I love ostrich, man.
Ostrich eggs.
Ostrich.
Oh, I've
I've
never
had
seen
both.
that anywhere available.
Yeah.
But I was really happy. I went to what was it, Costco the other day, and I saw prime rib.
Ooh, yeah.
I've only had prime rib like 3 times in my
Mm.
life, and I'm going to find a way to cook it here at home, or barely cook it, I should say.
Yeah, slow cook it. That's the
Deep
key.
fry.
I want
No,
prime
no,
rib,
no, just
prime
slow
rib, prime
cook
rib.
it.
Just
Deep fry.
Yeah.
Uh,
And we used. I worked for a tea room, and they would do different. It would sponsor different dinners and stuff. You could rent the whole restaurant out, and the prime rib was done in a convection oven,
yeah.
and it was very slow roasted. We put it in like at 6 a.m. and then it would to be served at 8:30, 9 o'clock that night, and then slow cooked the entire time to keep it moist and juicy. And
Someone come by and glaze it.
Yeah, we had to glaze it too. Yeah, they set timers, but they cooked it in a convection oven, and it was
Yeah.
just really just falling apart, melt in your mouth. It
Yeah,
just
but
melted
it's
in your
supposed to be
mouth.
pink. How do you slow cook it and stay that way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you cook it in a convection oven and not a regular
Yeah.
one. That's what I was told. Because confection
Uh,
ovens are used for confections, the delicate little pastries and all that kind of
yeah.
French
The
type stuff. Okay,
You do
and
all
so
kinds of things.
it
You should be able to do it in your slow cooker.
never tried it. I don't know. That's the only experience I've had with cooking it. I love eating it. I got more experience eating it than I do cooking it. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could do that
Yeah,
in your slow cooker.
that literally, with as often as I've eaten prime rib, it would be easier and probably cheaper to just find a restaurant that serves it, order it, and then
Do
wait
you
another
have a
couple.
slow cooker?
No. If I do, I don't know that I do.
It's usually round, got a glass lid, it's got a clay insert. You plug it in. It's got a knob on it. Kind of looks like a. It's also called a crock
Oh, that
pot.
sounds terrible,
yeah.
Grandma.
Oh no, he doesn't have a crock pot. I've tried to talk him into getting a crock pot for a long time.
Yeah, you want a crock pot.
Yeah,
Uh, it, it, Grandma would end up killing herself with it somehow, or lighting the house on fire or something.
it's so easy. You just throw everything in there, put the lid on it, and either put it on low or high. There you go, and just let it. It's great to throw in like those little beanie weenies, the little sausage,
Mhm.
smoked sausage things, and some potatoes and some green beans and an onion cut up, and just season it to taste.
Yeah.
Throw the lid on, go, and then you got a hot meal ready for you a couple hours later.
Moose Yummy is comment 100. Yes. Slow cooking stuff. You just like gotta remember you gotta put it in there longer. So you like put the stuff in around noon or whatever, and put it on low.
Hmm.
Um, and, and like put like a roast, not roast, but yeah, put your chicken in there and then just like color it at the end or whatever. Or you want to do like ribs in a nice pepper sauce or whatever, like bell peppers with onions and like some water and
I've never
whatever
had
you want.
moose, and I don't think I could find moose
Yeah.
anywhere
Um,
near where I live. And I've heard that about backstrap, but again,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to get to the butcher that I did find in our
Yeah.
next
No, no.
next week.
Seriously, if you're doing ribs, you just roll those things up, put them into the slow cooker with
Uh,
some diced onion and like bell pepper or carrot or whatever, and then like fill it halfway with water and then maybe some barbecue sauce or something, and just let it sit there for 5 to 6 hours. So when they come out, you will pull you'll go to grab it out and the bones will just slide right out.
the way I do cook them, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But
But like you
what I
don't
do is
have to
I
pay
boil them
attention to it.
first.
You don't
First I
have to do
boil
that.
them, then I bake them.
You don't have to do that. You just put them in there and let them sit and they'll caramelize and juice up all on their own.
That sounds really good, Grandma. Well, when I make ribs, I usually make 3 to 6 racks.
Okay, if you're doing that many, you're
Yeah, it's not going to
got a
happen.
lot of oven space. But
Kind of
yeah.
do. When I bake them, I use one of those turkey pans that you were talking about, and I fill it, and it barely fits in the oven.
Yeah.
Well, if I take out the shelf, it fits fine.
Yeah. But I don't know how many people you're feeding with that many.
3 or 4. No, I'm
You're
kidding.
eating a lot of.
No, it's usually between 4 and 10, and I like leftover ribs.
Okay, yeah.
I almost insist on it. If I'm going to cook something, like there's certain things like spaghetti, lasagna, enchiladas,
Yeah.
and ribs. If I'm making those, there better be leftovers, or I'm going to be pissed because I didn't go to all that trouble to make one meal like I did
Well,
last.
that's the thing with the slow cooker. Once you put all that crap in there, you
Mhm.
just go and like do a live stream, and then paint some miniatures, and take a nap, and then come back and it's done. Because I just like just yeah. you get Jackie out for the door, put the stuff in the slow cooker, and then I'll be ready for dinner. And do whatever the hell else you're doing for the day.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, because like last Easter, I forget what we had, but I cooked. Oh, we had filet mignons, but all the preps for everything for dinner. I started like 11:30, 4:30. Dinner was done, cooking and on the table, and less than 20 minutes later, everybody was picking up their dishes,
yeah,
and I'm like, what the
they,
shit?
they didn't taste anything.
Well, yes and no. And it's not like people are shoving it in prison style, but you know, we don't like sit around and have big long discussions and stuff like that. And you know,
Hmm.
it was just eat, grace, say grace, eat, and then boom, everybody goes off and does their thing. I think I had a game or a show that night. No, I think it was Sunday, so I had my Sunday game too. So yeah, I'm looking at another freezer just so I can do stuff like that because going to Sam's and Costco now Costco, I saw so many things. It's like, you know what? If I could just figure out a way to buy that all at once, you know.
Why did you switch from Sam's to Costco?
Well, we didn't switch. We just have both now. Jackie's mom needed prescription glasses, so she got a membership there, and because it's cheaper or something. I don't know. But I was walking around there, and I'm like, okay, this is bigger than Sam's Club, and there's a whole bunch of shit I've never seen before, like prime rib. So
Hmm. They
I'm like,
usually have a full meat section because they also do. If you own like a restaurant, you can get a restaurant card
yeah,
and get your stuff there. Um,
yeah,
because that's basically what they started as or meant to be is like a
the restaurant supply.
restaurant supply that you can also buy shit at, but
Yeah,
like you pay more and buy in larger,
yeah,
smaller lots.
yeah. Because I saw, believe it or not, I think it was like a 13 or 14 cubic foot stand up freezer instead of
Yeah,
the 7 foot or whatever, like coffin body size,
yeah.
freezers.
We
Uh,
have one of those stand up ones. We used to have one of the trunks.
with like 7 or 8 drawers. Everything's nice and tight, and you can keep it kind of organized.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want. I don't want to have to like pull everything out to get the things that are on the bottom out of the freezer.
I actually find that because the one we have is in separate drawers. Sadly, it's just like a fridge style cabinet.
Hmm.
I find it like harder to pull stuff out of that one now because we got rid
Really?
of the trunk one, the chest one because it was like older than me and the seal was going on it.
Mm.
Um, and I regret not just like going in there with a putty knife and scraping the seal off and replacing it. Um,
Sounds too much like work.
yeah, but I've done it before, so I could do it again. Um, not with that, but I've done it with other things. Um, because what I used to do is just like put stuff in bags and then like it had a tray that went across, so I just hooked the bags to the side of the tray
Mm.
instead of it being all the way down at the bottom. Because you want like room inside your freezer for the cold to build up. If you overfill it, it doesn't get cold enough, and
Yep.
that's how you get frostbite. Like
Yep.
overstuffing your freezer negates the purpose of having a freezer.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
is that
same
why everything's freezer burnt in my freezer?
that
Well, that and
and
the fact that your freezer's the size of a shoebox.
yeah. Well, you can have a small one. You just gotta like leave roughly a quarter of the space empty,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've
and
got
like
like one of
spread
those
stuff out.
refrigerators that's got the little freezer at the top, and I have to.
Yeah.
The ice maker's broken, so there's like a bunch of ice cube trays in there, and then everything else is shoved in there. Got to have my popsicles. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're mentioning stuff, Grandma. I don't even know what that stuff is.
They're the
Word.
most recent comment that those are different types of Hawaiian dishes.
No, I think I've heard of poi. I was just
Yeah. No, but like the specific. I think one of them is. Are you burying the pig, Grandma? You're gonna like buy the whole pig and bury it in the sand pit with the coals. Let it cook over like a weekend or whatever it is. That
I'm
always
starving
fascinates.
now. All this talk of food. I got to go eat
Yeah.
something today.
yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
call it at the 8:15 because we went a little over. Everybody,
Yeah.
thanks for sticking around and playing along with us tonight. Justin, we'll finish that other conversation maybe tomorrow or later. You can send me those questions if you want to type them out or talk them out. And
Uh, I'll send you that document. Just write down all the building types and how they upgrade.
mhm.
Um, yeah, I'll go through the document, but
I'm gonna go find something to snack on because you guys are killing me here.
I know. I'm starving now. I got to go
yeah,
make something to eat.
Hopefully, I will see you, Grandma, on Saturday, but I kind of doubt it. But who knows? I might get lucky, and they might not notice that I disappear for 3 hours. Raven and Justin, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for
yeah,
stopping by, everybody. Off grid, if you're still there, uh, Dungeon Minister, etc. I will see you guys all real soon. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. Hopefully, we can get back to the Traveler game too. Freaking Omen, man, always traveling.
yeah.
So I'll see everybody later. You guys have a great evening. And if I don't
Good.
see you before the weekend, have a great weekend. And as
Yeah.
always,
Party on,
Take care. Bye bye.
Taco Bell.